close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go,
Hello everyone and welcome to day 3 of the first week of the University Rumble. I am joined here by none other than Etos. Etos, say hi to everyone.
Hello everyone.
What do we have for us today, Etos?
Alright, today we have the Salty Ninjas versus the Alpaca Appreciation Society, formerly known as Mixed Team Number 1. And going into the game, we have the Salty Ninjas taking away Shen as their first ban.
Moving on to the champion select, you are definitely correct right there. I apologise for the slight delay, viewers. We're just getting ourselves set up for the match ahead. As Etos has already mentioned, we have Shen as the first ban for Mixed Team 1. Over to the right hand side. What do we see up top there, Etos?
We're seeing Blitzcrank. Now Blitzcrank, well, I think everyone played against a Blitzcrank, haven't they?
That is definitely true. And Blitzcrank is by far probably one of the least fun champions that you would want to verse in League of Legends at the moment. He is very annoying in the lane phase, especially with that, with the grappling hook as well with the power fist. Just that combination right there just equals good night, lights out.
Definitely, and remember I was seeing Yasuo actually taken away as well. Now Yasuo, I mean, if you play Yasuo properly, he's just a pain in the ass to deal with.
That is definitely true, and with the ever-growing meme I think it was Omewa Shindero, as soon as you see that whirlwind come and you are knocked up, you're going to see those blades of glory coming down on you very hard, my friend.
Indeed, but on the other side, we're seeing actually no ban being in. So either the team ran out of time or they simply decided, hey, we don't know what we want to take away, let's leave something open. And so that's up to the team. And Varus taken away as well on the side of the Alpaca, on the side of the Salty Ninjas, sorry.
Yeah, that is completely okay, my friend. That is completely okay. There might have been a slight miscommunication, or there might have been a ban penalty towards... which teams are we again? Mixed Team 1 versus Salty Ninjas, that's it. Salty Ninjas might have had an actual ban on an actual champion that they had to, skip out on for any particular reason.
As we see a second ban being taken away from the Appreciation Society, as they've now named themselves, which is last minute naming, is a quality. We're seeing Udyr hovered as well.
Yes, that is definitely true. Now, just bear with me a second, folks. I'm just going to turn up the sound because we seem to have very little sound happening.
Nice. Anyway, Twisted Fate is the first pick, blind pick, and you've got to assume that's a mid TF. But even so, that's very ballsy of a pick to take. Blind pick, like.
That is definitely true. Going into a Twisted Fate. Possibly going up against a Ziggs. Now that's going to be an even matchup. Like Twisted Fate has the very good gap close with his yellow card, as well as his flying cards. The minute he gets that single combo out, it could be just lights out. It could just almost either be lights out or a chunk of damage. Either way, Ziggs will have to withdraw if he, gets himself caught in a sticky situation. And it could put the jungler in a good position to be able to push forward, to be able to come in for the gank on the side. And since they have a Rammus... Oh no, Rammus is on the enemy team. I'm sorry, folks. I completely mind skipped. I just had a brain fart.
I was about to say, speaking of junglers coming in, we've got Rammus locked in on this side. I mean, if he's going to go for... I've seen a Rammus previous to today, I believe. And Rammus is very good at getting in there for those engages and acting as a pain in the ass of a front line.
That is definitely true.
And Shyvana locked in as the... That's got to be jungle Shyvana, right? No one plays Shyvana top anymore.
No, I definitely would doubt it very well. She is much more effective in the jungle, and she needs to be able to. She's a very good, wave clearer, and as well, she needs to be right on the ball with those objectives, especially with the dragon objectives, since her passive is actually reliant on only getting stronger by taking down the dragons. Whether it is her or her team, she needs it.
We're seeing Galio, but the thing I want to question is, if that's a Shyvana jungle, where's Udyr going?
Udyr has been known to be top lane recently. The famous streamer Trick2G has shown us what Udyr can be like versing in the top lane, and he's been quite effective up until recently.
Interesting. So that means we've got Udyr Galio in the top lane, with TF Ziggs, and then Nocturne taken away, which I find a bit odd because we already have our jungler, don't they?
Yes, they do, but I believe they are possibly fearing that it could be a different type of Nocturne. People can surprise us. We can always be surprised at the last minute. as we've seen from a couple games, you know, over the previous week, that some teams have managed to make a surprising comeback within the game itself. For all we know, in the champion lobby, they might be surprising us there too.
Indeed, pocket picks hiding left, right, and center. So hopefully we get to see something like that. I was seeing Xayah taken away on the side of the Salty Ninjas, which she isn't, I'd say, an S tier AD carry, but she's definitely up there in terms of what with that Blade Call ability, simply to get out of any form of danger she's in.
You are definitely correct there. And for those of us who don't understand what an S rank champion means, S rank is essentially a very powerful champion that can also be very easy to, you know, get ahead in the game. Then they can also be color coded, but at this point we won't really worry about color coded champions. So far, the best way to understand is when we say S rank is that is a powerful champion in the current meta. It is within, you know, reasonable range that they will do well in any situation within the game.
And Caitlyn taken away as the second AD carry banner. I quite like Caitlyn's AD carry pick, but Twitch taken in, and I'm excited. This is going to be good. Let's see.
How's it going? I see a Lux pick. I am already interested in seeing how this game is going to play out today.
Okay, so I've just been informed by our lovely judge that Twisted Fate is actually a placeholder for Vayne, which makes a lot more sense now I'm looking at this team composition.
What, for those of us that don't really understand, what do you mean? What does it mean by placeholder?
So effectively, in this scenario, the player Cold Noob does not actually have Vayne unlocked, but the team wishes to first pick it as their champion. So what they've basically done here is they've picked in a different champion and intend to substitute it. So now during the loadout phase, I hardly expect one of the players will exit the game, will reset, and then we'll repeat pick and ban. Once again, it'll be the exact same, but players will pick for themselves, and we'll see a Vayne where the Twisted Fate is.
So does this mean for me that, okay, we are re-entering lobby, and while we get this sorted, folks, I will take us back to the loading screen with some nice chill music as we get ourselves sorted out. Hello everybody and welcome back. We are sorry for that slight little delay. We should have this all completely fixed up now, and now we head ourselves back into the champion select. Eidos, what do we have down here on the field?
Well, like we were saying before we found out we had to take a pause. So what's effectively going to happen in this champion select is in theory, what's meant to happen is the pick and bans are meant to be completely identical, except you pick for yourself because we already know what's going into each role now. As we can see, the Salty Ninjas are doing that, while at least, we're seeing some troll bans out of the Alpaca Appreciation Society simply because we know what's being picked. As long as they don't take away one of the intended champion picks, it honestly doesn't matter what they take away. So they're taking away, first 3 A champions, and now, so we'll see the. I'm still looking at it. So we'll either see, so it's Udyr top, Shyvana jungle. So that pretty much everyone's just picking for themselves at this point.
That is definitely good to hear. And as we can see, both teams are going with the 100% bans this time around. As before, we saw only one ban from the side of what was the team? We got Salty Ninjas. That's it. My memory is a little bit faded at the moment. It's slowly jogging.
I believe that may actually be the Alpaca. Oh wait, no, yeah. I think that's the Alpaca Appreciation Society on the right on Team 2 for this particular round, I'm afraid.
Is the Alpacas on that side, is it this time?
I believe they haven't changed. I thought that was originally. Now I'm worried.
On the right hand side, I've got down here Salty Ninjas, and on the left hand side, we have Mixed Team 1, but we seem to have an actual name for the team now. What was the name of that team, sorry?
The Alpaca Appreciation Society. They changed it right before we started the...
Perfect.
So, like I said, we'll see troll bans coming in for the side of the Alpacas, because they don't need to. As long as they don't take away the intended picks for the Salty Ninjas, it honestly doesn't matter what you ban during a placeholder-like scenario, which, if you look at, it doesn't happen often, partly because, a lot of people don't watch these type of games, but, when we're not on accounts that have every champion, then this is honestly quite a common occurrence.
That is definitely true. And as we head further or deeper into the champion picks, we seem to have a full 5-man ban on each side, with very interesting bans happening at the moment. Some of them being within meta and some being just outside of the meta zone at the moment. And looking over towards both teams with their champion picks themselves, it looks like it will be a very interesting matchup. We have an Alistair and Vayne pair up versus a Twitch and Nami bot lane. Nami at the moment is quite strong, a favourable pick, as well as very viable within a team situation, especially when it comes to getting the engage with that tsunami coming from Nami.
I agree with you there, but if you want to talk about engage, you've got to talk about on the other, their opposite matchup, Alistair. I mean, when it comes to engage supports, I think there's Alistair, there's Leona, and that's they're the kings of the castle there.
That is definitely true. Very good frontline tank matchup happening. We've got the Shyvana for the frontline engage, Alistair to come in with the support, and the Udyr's bear stance is just almost completely the most annoying thing to ever have come across in a team fight.
Without a doubt, I completely agree with you on that one. And I'm looking at these comps. I'm questioning, is Udyr going to go for more of a split push style, or do you think Udyr's going to, try and rally up with his team?
We are not really 100% sure at this point. It's anyone's game. It's only the champions, so we can't make too many very strong predictions. Possible actions that the players might take. We can't read their minds, but all we can really hope for is that they give us a really nice show and show us how powerful they can really get when they get themselves into when they start building up. Udyr may be starting in the top lane, sort of an off meta thing, but with Trick 2G entering, sort of bringing him back into being a laner, he might actually prove to be even more powerful. But who knows at this point? I'm really interested in seeing this Rammus and Galio combination taking off. Rammus coming in with the initial engage for a team fight, and Galio following in with his ultimate on top to put that team at that slight advantage. It really depends on how these players, conduct themselves in a team-wise manner. Will they have the synergy? Will they have the ability to respond to one another when coming to a team fight situation? Yeah,
I completely agree with you on that. We are on a spectator delay, unfortunately, so it will be a few more minutes before we get. It will be 2 minutes as you can be on the screen until we get into game. But I'm looking at this team, and there's one thing on the Alpaca side that gives me a slight worry, which is come to the later stage of the game. I don't see Galio outputting a lot of damage, and Nightwing's going to have to do quite a bit of damage in this game to keep his team relevant.
You are completely correct on that matter right there. I'm very curious to see how this Vayne is also going to happen in the early stages of the game. And as we know, historically Vayne is a sort of a weak early game champion, and as she builds up, she gets quite powerful, especially when she gets her E, which I think is called Condemn. I think it is, or
Indeed.
Condemn, yeah, especially when she starts getting, those 3 basic attacks in a row on a single champion. It's just, I'll just take out a chunk of your health. I don't care how much health you got. I will always take out that percentage of your health. You can have 5,000, I'll just take out 30%. You got 3,000, either way, 30%. That number remains the same in the percentage.
Yeah, definitely. Vayne Silver Bolts are just a nightmare to deal with. Any tank can tell you that. But the reason Vayne, I think, has been picked up a lot more is because of that recent change with Relic Shield along with the change with the Overheal, which basically means her laning phase feels a lot safer than it used to be.
That is definitely correct. And with Alistair's reanimation happening, how now his passive does a heal instead of being an actual ability. It'll be even more fun to see how Vayne will be able to conduct herself within lane, especially with a very pokey duo like Twitch and Nami.
Well, I'm excited to see what we get going on for Game 1 between Salty Ninjas and the Alpaca Appreciation Society. Never thought I'd say the word Alpaca today, so I'm in a good mood. And they're loading into Game 1 between these two teams.
Oh, that's always good to hear. It's always nice to have somebody who's in a good mood. It makes the experience much more enjoyable. Now remember, to sync up, we must pause at 20 seconds to make sure that we don't really have any delays with one another.
Indeed, I've had, if any spectators watch casts where they're desyncing, it is a pain to watch. And actually, Spellbook being taken by Alistair. Now that is something you don't see every day.
No, definitely not, and it is going to be quite It's going to be quite interesting. Like, we see the exhaust happening up front. Now the better question is he going to keep it at exhaust, or is he going to, is he going to change it out for something that'll be a little bit more for a team situation later on, or is he merely only getting Spellbook for the reduced cooldown on his summoner spells to start with?
I would love to see him go. Actually, ironically, I would have loved to have seen an Ignite start with Alistair. So you use that level 3, you kill, and then you swap to the exhaust for the later stages. But it'll be up to Ghost of Heroes. He obviously knows what he wants on this Alistair, so we'll have to see what he opts for in this game.
That is definitely correct. And I will call him Bit God. That middle name should not really be said, especially in a live stream. Bit God with the I think it's Glacial Augment. I don't see Galio with a Glacial Augment, so I'm curious to see how he's going to make use of it within this matchup.
I mean, I feel like there's nothing. Lux versus Galio. Galio is probably going to have quite a rough laning phase. Lux is very, very pokey, so it's going to be a bit of a rough lane for him, I sense.
20-second pause.
Yeah. Oh wow, I went right past it. Whoopsies. I completely zoned out.
That is fine. Just reset yourself back to 20.
Yeah. 20.
Alright, good. And we are synced up. Okay, I apologize for that last little fix-up. But now as we get underway, we seem to... Eidos, what are we seeing here? This looks very interesting right now.
Ooh, this is going to be fun. So this looks like a 4-man... It's either a 4-man ward or a 4-man invade. It's designed to basically punish a jungler sitting in that bush who tries to be ambitious, or it's a way of, hey, we want to invade, but we don't really know. We'll see how we feel. So if Calvert takes one step out of that bush, he is going to be in a lot of trouble. He needs to just not move closer as he walks away.
That is alright. That is definitely alright. And as we can see from the bot team on there, from what is it, Alpaca? I'll call them Alpaca. That just feels easiest for me to work with at this point. But the Alpacas seem to be putting themselves as a 4-man ward, as Eidos mentioned just before, and it's to prevent the jungler from being able to possibly invade. And it's sort of like a trade stance. If the Salty Ninjas were going to attack, they don't know who's in the bush. As we see, there was no ward placed there, so we don't really know. If they're going for an attack, they're going to be surprised. And if they're not careful, they will have to waste summoner spells, which put them you know, a little bit behind when it comes to trading in the in lane phases, as well. If they're not even careful enough, they might even give an early game kill to Alpacas.
Definitely, but I feel there may be a slight mix-up. To my knowledge, Alpacas is the team on red, so I think we may have had a slight... I might ask the admin for a bit of confirmation, because on my notes, I've gotten as Alpacas being the red team for this matchup.
So it's the Alpacas on the right-hand side, is it? On
I believe so. Oh, whoa, it's an early gank from Calbar, but he's going to get knocked up, and actually Exhaust coming out, flashes over the wall, manages to make that one, and does survive. I think we may have to message Eric about that, because I'm pretty sure they're on the right. To my knowledge, at least. I might be wrong.
Let me double check through the comms.
Meanwhile, Galba does manage to survive that gank, and I guess it's the right idea. He went straight from blue buff into that early gank, trying to get that little bit cheesy shot up. Unfortunate, it was not enough to secure a kill, and actually was forced to burn his own flash. So really good punish from Go to Heroes, knocking Calba under the turret on that side.
I am back, and you are definitely right about that, Ethos. Alpacas are on the right-hand side of this matchup. I will quickly fix up the scoreboard.
Alright, we'll get that fixed up, hopefully. And I've just noticed on the itemizations, and I probably should have a little bit earlier, is Spellthief's Edge coming in for Udyr up in that top lane, as we see quite a bit of poke coming on onto 8-Bit. And 8-Bit actually really wants this fight, the point coming in, and he's very low. I feel like, there we go, forced to flash away out of fear of the binding coming out. And we need a scoreboard as well, if we can have that up.
Yes, I think that is... Here we are.
Scoreboard's not on the screen.
Yes, I apologize for that. There we are. Everything should be lickety-split good.
Lovely. I'll keep the stream open on my side just to see if anything's other than that. But yeah, while that was happening, Cold Lead is running with the Spellthief Edge, which is a bit unconventional, I'd say, for a top laner.
Definitely unconventional, but as we've seen, you know, ever since they've introduced the new ruining system, people have just been going with more of the gold accumulation.
Really low, is not burning barrier just yet, playing with fire, and this mid lane is volatile as hell.
That is quite the trade I'm seeing down there in the bot lane. Just you know, Vayne and Alistair are going whole ham into it, and they are pretty much putting themselves on the aggressive. If we paint or draw an imaginary line just past the top lane right there, the top bush, we can see that is essentially the priority line. The minute those minions go past that line, they have control of the lane to be able to roam if they wish to do so.
Yeah, without a doubt. And they're pushing up constantly. I mean, when you think of Vayne, you know, you obviously think of a weak early game champion, but Twitch is very much, I feel, in that same ballpark where he needs time to get going, because otherwise he's simply like, oh, I'm Twitch, I'm invisible, and I do nothing.
That is a very funny picture you have painted for me right there. I will have to put it like that. That is a very funny picture you have painted for me.
I'm glad. That's my one job as a play-by-play, is to make people laugh. Oh, Bunny taking out quite low. Barrier has been burnt. Raw coming in from the backside. And actually, the challenging smite goes down. 8-Bit is by himself and dies alone in the mid lane.
Yeah, I thought he was going to take out Lux just then with that one-on-one situation, but that barrier being burnt, saved Lux's health just by a little bit, and with the invasion from behind from iRaw has just secured them the first kill of the game.
Definitely, and that's, I mean, the kill goes over to Shyvana of all champions, which is actually really good. Partly because actually Calba really wants something in the bot lane. Lovely condemn, throws him away. This Rammus is having no luck down bot.
Very interesting trade-off indeed. Very interesting trade-off to start with. We have ourselves a kill in the mid lane. The jungler takes the majority credit, so that is an extra bit of gold for, Shyvana to start with, which puts her ahead of Rammus, possibly just by a little. As we can see with the farm, there is also a big 18 minion advantage towards Shyvana. Lux has the free farm advantage to get the XP lead, the gold lead, and with that assist on the side, that'll keep her within close vicinity of Galio in case he gets some assists in another lane.
Definitely, and talking about gold differences, there's an 800 gold difference between these two junglers, and there was 2 levels difference as well. So obviously, the Shyvana with that successful gank versus Calvert's 2 unsuccessful ganks is getting himself quite far ahead.
This is proving to be quite the start of the match right now. We're only hitting 6 minutes and 45, and there is already 1.2 gold
wants a
lead.
party. Taunt was not in range, unfortunately, and that's more time. Now we've got Iroar once again, 2-level advantage over his opposite number. Oh, God, Noob, you've so overstayed. Hammer does not connect, and now Iroar is here with the Dragon's Descent, taking out solo. Calbear tries to run, but the Dragon chomps down. Once she finds a prey, they ain't getting out of there alive.
Yes, that was quite the invasion right there. Even that Shyvana took me by surprise. Just the absence of, looking at the minimap, just, it just shocked me. Just Shyvana coming in there with the ultimate to, take on Rammus and actually taking the kill onto Rammus and giving her an even further gold advantage. As well as now a level advantage and the item lead as well. That crossbow is going to prove quite the difference when going up against, one-on-one fisticuffs with a Rammus if Rammus decides to take a trade.
Yeah, definitely, but Rammus shouldn't even know. I mean, Rammus is 2 levels down in comparison to Iroar Shyvana, and I mean that if you want to look at what currently looks like this game is being, I feel, dictated by the junglers, and a 2-level advantage and 2 kills over your opposite number is always the way you want to start.
Definitely correct right there. Looking over at the top lane, we have a small little trade-off from Poppy to Udyr, throwing her shield at him, saying, stay away from my turret. I'd actually like to do something here.
Yeah, definitely. But it's saying with Udyr running this Klepto, and we can look at his items, he is generating a ton of gold. He is currently nearly 800 gold ahead of his opposite number. And that's just from Kleptomania. I mean, that's not even from additional CS because they're relatively even.
Completely right, completely right. See, this Udyr is already showing us how effective he can be in as a laning champion with Kleptomancy. As I'm pretty sure he has Kleptomancy. Yes, we can see that he has Kleptomancy with that item collection he has just from sitting in the lane, as well as having Spellthieves Edge. It's just proving, he's able to collect gold even if he is behind by a little.
Oh, 8-Bit wants some more fights. He's not happy with Soul Binding and Barrier being burned so much of his shield. And oh, there we go. One more flash and the pound into the ground. And Iroar may want vengeance for his mid lane. He has Dragon's Descent available. There we go. The Dragon comes out and 8-Bit falls once again.
I feel like you're about a second behind me. What is your time at?
Nightwing is taking on. I'm at 19:12. Just there. I feel I might be a second behind, yeah.
You're about 3 seconds behind me at the moment. Let me quickly resync myself. How do I bring up the time? There we go. Okay, come to 9:24.
9:20. Oh, what? Okay, Rammus. I'm at 9:24 now, and Rammus has been executed.
Yep, we are definitely back on track. What was that? Rammus got executed.
Yeah, so tell us when you're ready to resume.
Oh, okay then. Put yourself at 9:38.
Alright, moving up. But yeah, that was executed. Rammus had Smite available and simply opted not to, I guess.
That is a very interesting turn of events. 9 minutes 38.
Yep. I've paused at 9:38.
Alright, cool. 3, 2, 1, go.
And play.
We apologise for that slight delay, folks. It can be really interesting, spectating from 2 different computers, and just the time sync just gets a little bit out of whack from time to time.
Unfortunately, so. But we do what we can with what we've got available to us. So we'll attempt to do our best as the game resumes. Nearly 10 minutes now on the clock.
Yes, coming in at 10 minutes. For those who might have Gathering Storm, they've already accumulated their first round of bonus attack damage or ability power, depending on the champion they chose.
And I want to take a quick look down the items while we can. Shyvana has completed, I believe that's called the Blood Razor. Yep, the Blood Razor item with her Skirmisher Saber. And that is a terrifying Shyvana at this point. 3-0, first item already fully completed.
And the second item I'm seeing right there, just that longsword looks like it could be quite dangerous if that comes into either a... Historically, people who play Shyvana would, commonly go down the path of the Blood Razor, completed boots.
Kaiba taking a lot of damage. Shining Light is not enough. Kaiba dives his way out of there, doing what he can. 8-Bit is in the back line, gets a 3-man talk. Kaiba does fall down. 8-Bit's in the front line. Rat-a-tat-tat going off with his entire fight. God is going to fall. A double kill coming out for Iroar. Nightwing trying to run for his life, but Shyvana is hungry and she wants to sink her teeth into something, but the turret forces her away.
Well done, Etos. I completely got thrills going down my spine from that. Just that rat-a-tat-tat. It just, oh man, just absolutely glorious.
It's called rat-a-tat. Yeah, no, it's called Spray and Pray. They changed the name. I keep forgetting that.
Spray and Pray. That's what they called it too. I liked rat-a-tat-tat. It just sounded so much better.
It was a pun. I mean, how can you get rid of a pun from that?
I don't know, but League of Legends has their way of doing things, and they probably did it for a particular reason. Happening from that right there, that seemed to have been another, 2 or 3 champion kills over towards Salty Ninjas right now.
Definitely, and that was a really good collapse on the side of the Salty Ninjas. They managed to get what originally was a 2v2. Teleport wasn't burned. Simply the hero's entrance. The hero's entrance from Galio is what brought him into the fight. I was thinking he burned teleport to get into there.
Yes, his ultimate brought him into the fray with Ramus taking the initial engage onto Lux. Lux managed to get herself out of that little pickle.
We're talking about being in a pickle. 8-bit God is in trouble once again. The Dragon's attempt to try and throw him away. That was cheeky, and the final spark, indeed does not connect.
Bit Gold is proving very well to keep up with his farm as well as his lane appearance. He's all over the place right now. He has got himself in the zone.
Holding's in a bit of trouble. Flash being burnt out, and Kaiba really wants to try and secure this kill. Powerball is not available just yet, but will be soon. And Holding actually, this is a giant collapse, and Kaiba's now in a lot of trouble. This is a 3 versus 1. The Ramus does not want this. Haunts the dragon under there, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough to get a kill either way.
No, and from that, from that rollabout, we saw Lux try and, get a couple of hits onto him, and he was just managing to roll himself around the place and just dodge everything she could throw at him.
As we're seeing, Riftherald now started up, and Nightwing, he was looking for it, but they smelled a rat and they backed away.
Yes, and with that smell of the rat, they also managed to alert Alistair that he has completed his support quest. He now has that extra shield on his relic shield. He's going to be even more of a problem towards both Twitch and Nami if they try to go on for a teamfight situation.
Definitely. I mean, Alice is already an annoying of a frontline with that unbreakable will, so this little bit of your shield just makes him that much extra effort that you have to throw into this Alice to kill him. At that point, if your Vayne's doing the damage properly, they've killed someone else in response.
And speaking of extra effort, look over at Shyvana. Look at her trinket. She has the Rift Herald already in her arsenal. It is now going to be a question of where she will play it. I feel it might be top lane, looking at how weak that top turret is. That'll put Redia ahead. That'll put the team ahead with the collective gold.
Right, Spray and Pray now comes out onto the Vayne, and Twitch is completely untouched in this, but it doesn't look like the poison is enough to contaminate. Simply not able to clean up the job.
Being able to just run away like that, with the dodge, with the tumble, and just a simple getaway, just managed to. She survived it pretty well. Alistair's heal popped off maybe twice, I think, throughout that single trade.
So I got completely distracted by Kangaroo Man. I believe his shield procs his Hydra, his Tiamat, and I was.
Oh really?
I believe so. I saw a little echo around when he auto attacked a minion with it, and I got very flummoxed by that because I'll fully confess to never knowing that. But 4 members down bot lane once again. Kaiba's in a lot of trouble, and Iroh wants to sink his fangs in. No, he's going to leave it to Soul Bunny, but Bunny is probably going to go down. Taunt Barry being burnt out. And actually stays alive. The Condemn and the Dragon's Descent interrupt. Spray and Pray going off in the back line. No, it's not Twitch. Going invisible, being knocked up, taken down. Iroh has stunk his teeth in there, flashes towards it. Actually gets the shutdown and a double kill for himself. Iroh has his victim set in his sight and is trying to get himself some nice and tasty sushi. But instead, looks like he's going to be eating a rock. But no, actually gets himself away. Nightwing trying to do what he can against the cow, but surely one more. No heal coming out, but is it going to be enough? Unbreakable will, and Alistair punches him in the face. He's had enough.
He's definitely had enough. Just looking at him, taking him on there, just, giving himself a bit of a kickstart with the final punch. Oh, it was a glorious finish for Alistair right there.
That's what you love to see as a support. Meanwhile, 8-bit's in a lot of trouble actually, but Heroes the Ghost is being knocked up, thrown away, and Rift Herald has been used, but I don't know if it's actually going to be able to secure the turret or not. I don't see how low that turret is. The Herald jumps in, but it doesn't look like first turret's down just yet.
No, and it's interesting as well to see the Rift Herald being popped down bot lane.
There we go.
I could see why it was popped down bot lane.
No mana at all. I mean, no matter against an Udyr, you're not going to get out of this, man. I mean, you can run as far as you can, but Udyr is not going to let you go. Phoenix stands into the kill.
Yes, and with that Iceborne Gauntlet fully completed, that's just going to put him even further into a into a dueling situation. He will be able to maintain his stance on them.
Coming out. Nightwing wants vengeance. Coldblood can't run out of there, and actually spray and pray, even with that Infinity Edge, is just not enough.
That was a very good invade. That was a very good invade by Twitch right there. Just pushing Udyr backwards. You know, almost managed to attempt on that kill, but Udyr just has that movement speed to get out of there with that bear stance active.
Ooh, Iroh has been so active this game, and we see it again. And talking about Iroh, he's going for the Frozen Mallet second item, and that's gonna be. Shyvana's already sticky as it is. That's gonna make her you can't get away from a Shyvana with a Frozen Mallet.
No, definitely not. And Shyvana has passive movement speed above everyone else, as well as her W active.
He's in a lot of trouble, and he's trying to run himself out of there. Goes the hero, throws him away, says, you get a free pass on this one. But it now looks like a 4-man mid lane siege as the Salty Ninjas have set themselves up.
With that Hextech GLP on completed on Galio, he is just getting more tankier as the game progresses. And since he is the anti-mage based champion, he is pretty much going to put Lux in a sticky situation. If he manages to catch her, not corrupt and whatnot, she will be in trouble.
Definitely, we're talking about sticky situations. Ghost of Heroes is taking a lot of damage and is forced to burn Unbreakable Will. That is not a cooldown you can use, willy nilly.
That is, you are right. You're definitely right there. Just looking at that, that was just it was an even trade.
What the? Iroh was somewhere he shouldn't have been.
No, being in the Dragon Pit, possibly saying hello to an ancestor or a relative of some sort, and it's just like, oh, here's the enemy. I gotta go. Bye.
But while all this is happening, Cold Noob is just hanging out top lane, pushing this turret as Udyr.
I believe you said before in the Champion Select that he might plan to be a split pusher. We are seeing that enacting out right now, just taking that tier 2 turret. Everyone else is just running about. We could see a response happening from the rest of the team coming towards top lane to defend it, but the minute it went down, they knew there was no point going up there. It would have been a waste of a trip because Udyr's bear stance just gives him that much movement speed that he can just go from, one place to another, lickety split, a lot quicker than, even a Janna could.
Yeah, we're talking about going lickety split. Actually gets locked up. Unfortunately, Cowboy uses his taunt down, and Nightwing is invisible on the sideline. There he goes. He opens up, spray and pray, but simply gets knocked up. Heroic entrance coming in from the Galio, but it doesn't look it. This is the 3rd or 4th time they've gone for one of these engages, and they just haven't been able to find anything.
No, they seem to be getting themselves out of there pretty easily. It's almost as if, come and attack me. That's fine. I'll just run away. I will live. I have the capabilities.
Definitely, and if you look at the there's not a lot of crowd control being used in these fights. Sure, Rammus is crowd control and Galio is crowd control, but I'm not seeing a lot of it being used.
As Etos resets his brain, it catches his mind up to his mouth. Everyone seems to be resetting themselves as well. We see both teams backing off. Poppy has started taking a push to the bot lane, pushing the minions past the priority line, being able to take down that turret, or at least do some damage to it. They need to start collecting objectives, otherwise things will start looking grim for the Alpacas at this point. If we turn our heads up to the scoreboard, we see three turrets down to 0. We have 34,000 gold, 34.7 thousand gold, on the side of Salty Ninjas. Whereas on the right hand side to the Alpacas, we only see 28,000. The scoreboard itself, 8-4. The Alpacas are falling behind on all fronts. I'm curious to see how they're going to turn this around. They can get a good team fight situation happening, but it's a matter of, whether they will be able to sustain enough to be able to take down Salty Ninjas. Do we know? We do not. We will find out.
We'll find out as Cole just wants another bite of this Poppy, and he's been doing this whole game, just eating up on this poor thing, and Poppy taking a lot of damage. Cole actually might want to try and an almost all-in. Kangaroo is taking a lot of damage from this Udyr with just a frozen, it's just an Iceborne Gauntlet, I'm sorry. And now we've got a siege in the mid. Ooh, spray and pray is now being used in the backline. Twitch has opened up, but Shyvana dies on top of the Twitch. He wants a piece of the rat. Ghost of Heroes is tanking out with that Unbreakable Will. Oh, Nami is turned into Sushi. A lovely binding coming in from Soul Bunny.
And such a windy end for Nami right there. Just Lux with her abilities to combo it out with the final ultimate, just absolutely secured them such a windy victory right there.
And Cold Noob isn't 1 versus 2, but he's Udyr and he doesn't give a damn.
No, definitely not. Udyr has got the capabilities to sustain himself, get away, put himself in the pickle, put himself in your face. He has everything. He is the all-star of the top lane right now.
Yeah, and I want to say if you look at the gold graph, we're seeing 3,000 gold for top and 3,000 gold for the junglers on the side of Salty Ninjas ahead, and that is astronomical.
For my knowledge, how do I change it over to the gold from score? F?
X.
X.
It swaps it over and you can use it to swap it back.
Okay then. We are lickety-splitly good.
We're learning as we go. But yeah, like look at the gold there. We're looking at, 5 and 6 grand versus, 8 on both sides. That is not the position you want to be in.
No, and being at least 1,000 gold ahead of your opponent just puts you even further in front, because that is essentially either a full set of boots or half of a completed item. Like a Nash's, sorry, not a Nash's tooth, I'll just say a Phage or a Sheen or a Zeal or a BF sword.
Or an Udyr that's in quite a bit of trouble. It looks like it's going to be a 4-man collapse. The Flash Heroic Charge does not work. Now we've got Nami rocking up as well. This is a 3 versus 1, but this is an Udyr, and he runs his way out of there. No Calba, they're hard committing for this. And 2 versus now. There we go. The Flash being burnt out, and that's really good on the side of salty ninjas, considering all you burnt was a Flash, and you got so much pressure out of it. And now look at bot.
Yes, they are just showing how aggressive they can be and how much lane pressure they can push. They have already got the top lane pushed in, they've got the bottom lane pushed in. Tier 2 turret has just gone down in the bot lane on the side of Salty Ninjas. They are just making plays. They are making objectives. They are focused.
Ooh, and Calba goes really far ahead of the rest of his team. I think there may have been a bit of miscommunication that gets caught out and taken down.
And we could see Elemental Slux going into her Lightning Thorn, putting herself into such a thundery position. I wonder if she's going to give us some lightning plays that she hopes to deliver.
I just realized why you're making air puns. You went into air form first. Wow, I'm slow today, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Ethos.
I completely didn't notice that. Oh, now I'm sad I didn't notice that earlier. But yeah,
I've played a lot of Lux. I have her tattooed on my arm. I absolutely love everything about her. She is an all-round great champion. Ever since her release, she has just been one of the all-time greats, essentially.
Oh yeah, and looks like she's building towards a Luden's Echo as a second item. So wanting to try and just get that little bit of extra splash damage out when she uses her Singularity. So. And it looks like the third dragon of this game is alive, and well, alive for now at least. Yes,
and being the Cloud Dragon, that is going to put Salty Ninjas at a bit of a map coverage advantage, being able to get from A to B a little bit quicker with that extra, I think 12 out of combat movement speed. I think it offers at this point.
And we're seeing, well, it looks like almost like a full 1 split push setting up Cold Noob on the bot lane and everyone else mid, and honestly right now Salty Ninjas can continue this because it feels like they're winning on most fronts.
I would say they are pretty much winning on all fronts at the moment. all tier 1 turrets of every lane are still alive on the side of Salty Ninja. They have taken down tier 1 and 2 tier 2 turrets. Oh,
Cold Noob, you're good, but can you survive a 5-man all in? You can smell it, blood in the water. Cold Noob running for his life, and that is 5-man. He manages to get away. That's tilting to watch. Cold Noob, he wants more. He wants to go for the fight. As we see, Knockout coming in, Powerball coming in, Lux in the backline, manages to throw that damage. Lightning Bolt takes out Calba. That is a unfortunate storm. He didn't want to be in. Hammer coming out, doesn't connect on one single person. It's the 3 versus 2, and Hobby drives his way out of there. Bit God is in a little bit of trouble, locked up, taken up, is not rooted up, is stunned up by the Alistair. A lot of crowd control. He's taking his damn sweet time to die. Pops the Zonyas, but I feel like that's just for a little bit of show. Gets the 2-man taunt and falls to the Lightning Lux.
Unfortunately, a shocking end to both Galio and Rammus at this stage of the game. And if we look over to the gold accumulation from that, we seem to have almost a 1,000 gold lead between Lux and Galio on their own. And then we see almost a 4,000 gold lead between Shyvana and Rammus. Udyr proving to be, the top of the ranks, going with a 3,600 gold lead, only getting bigger with that Kleptomancy. That Kleptomancy just puts him even further in front. It's just amazing how much extra passive gold that he can accumulate just from having Kleptomancy.
Definitely. I mean, he's not even hugely, ahead of the Poppy. I mean, he's got a kill and a couple assists under his belt, but realistically, other than that, he's managed to pick up a whole lot of them. Actually, it looks like a tower dive. Ram is getting locked up once again. There's not enough. Dragon's Head onto the backline. Nightwing forced to flush out that. His teleport comes in. Alistair is tanking up the turret with that Unbreakable Will. He doesn't give a damn. As finally, Iroh, I think, has overextended himself, is slowed up and taken down. The Dragon will fall. Udyr trying to pick up some sushi, but it's not going to be enough. Cold Noob is running his way out of there. Is now thrown up against the wall. 8-Bit is not able to get the flash torn, and it looks like the Salty Ninjas are going to get out of there with going for a 1-for-1 trade.
Yes. If we look over towards the kill-death assist ratios, or the kill-death assist screen, we see that Udyr and Alistair still have not died. They have yet to have, meet their death within this game so far. Udyr is just a slippery little bugger. His best dance is just making him, just tumble away very easily.
Definitely. I mean, slippery little bug. I don't know how little he is, but he's definitely really hard to get a lock on because he's able to simply spam that bear stance so much and get that additional movement through stacking up and stacking up. I mean, you can't chase an Udyr, much like you shouldn't chase a Singed.
Exactly, and seeing as he's now got that 40% cooldown reduction that he needs to have, the maximum use of all of his abilities, his passive gives him attack speed and movement speed on top of that. He's either going to be out of your face very quickly, or he's just going to be so far in your face you're not even going to see him.
Speaking about being in his face, Kangaroo is having a bit of a rough time with the Tiger Phoenix Bear Turtle Man up in his grill, with the Dragon coming in as well. And Iroh doesn't realize. I don't think they realize this is a 2 versus 5 at this point. Kangaroo Man flashing, the hammer throws one away. Cold Noob is once again by himself, but there's no hard committal to the fight, and he just runs his way out.
Look over at Udyr's items. He is going completely on the defense. But you know what they say, sometimes the best defense is a good offense. And right now, he's being very offensive using a defensive, item build base.
Definitely, as we see, Bit able to land the taunt with the Condemn, but Elmer is running for his life, gets that silver bolt proc, chunking down the 8-Bit god himself, and Nami does what she can, but there's a lot of damage. Oh, Ghost of Heroes is in the backline now, using that trample, but is stunned up against the wall. Is taking a lot of damage, but there we go, Unbreakable Will. Elmer popping out into the backline. 8-Bit God doing what he can to Shyvana, but Shyvana doesn't give a damn. Dragons just set into the backline to a 3-man knockup. With Lightning Bolt coming out, landing across the entire enemy team. Nightwing is spraying and praying in the backline, but I don't think his spray and pray is accurate enough. You need to aim. 8-Bit coming up, actually manages to pick up the Vayne. 8-Bit taking out so low. Iroh picks himself up a triple kill.
That is quite the thunder and roar happening in that team fight right there. Just Shyvana with that initial engage, so, be in their face. And then Lux coming in with that, 5-man lightning bolt ulti right there.
That was a lovely ultimate coming out from the Soul Bunny 99. And Cold Noob, during all of this, has decided, you know what we need? I want top lane. And has stayed up there, and there's not a whole lot that Calbo can do about it because Udyr is just so damn strong.
Not only is he strong, he's also very, very mobile. You can try and chase him, he'll just run away. You move away from lane, he'll just come back and push it again. He has everything, he has the entire top lane, up his sleeve. He is the king of top lane right now.
Yeah, definitely. And that last team fight, you got to feel slightly bad for Nightwing there. I mean, he got to use the entire channel of spray and pray, got every shot out, and it just simply wasn't enough to really get any huge advantages in that fight.
No, if we look over at his item build, he has 2 completely built items, excluding boots. He has, a lot of attack speed, but he has very little damage to offer. And as well, he may have a lot of crit chance, but if we look over at Shyvana, she has Randuin's Omen, which reduces 10% of that critical strike damage, but, on its own. And then we also have the Ninja Tabby Boots, which reduces it an even further 10%.
Definitely, and I mean, talking about damage, I want to look at Iroh. He's building towards a Titanic Hydra, and I mean, if this Shyvana was doing work before with a Blood Razor and a Frozen Mallet, imagine how painful a second auto attack timer reset is going to be on this dragon here.
Well, they're very determined to try and check that dragon, especially it being an infernal.
Meanwhile, top lane, Udyr is switching. It's a 5 versus 4. Twitch is knocked up, so Shyvana diving into the backline is thrown away. Big God doing what he can to keep the Twitch alive, and Twitch is being forced away in this fight. It is now a 2 versus 2 actually. Rammus eventually does take out the Dragon, and Ghost of Heroes will fall as well. That was a bit ambitious considering Cold Noob was top lane the entire time. Dragon is secured by Kangaroo, and it looks like Cold Noob takes the inhibitor but doesn't want to push his luck any further. Back in, actually it looks like he might be clearing the wave.
Being able to secure, sacrificing the Infernal Dragon for an inhibitor is always, you know, quite the good feat, especially in this early stage of the game. And the amount of aggression that they are putting in there, you know, they are trying to keep the lanes pushed. Udyr is making sure that they are always, you know, have something on mind, whether it be, you know, the top lane being aggressively pushed all the way to the Nexus, or whether it's a 5v4 situation, you know, Salty Ninjas being the 4. And then we've also got the Alpacas, you know, being the 5 situation. It's very interesting to see that Salty Ninjas are still able to maintain themselves, having a 4-1 split situation happening as part of their team, you know, the team tactic.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with you on that one. We did see a bit of, I'd say, miscommunication. You know, we saw Ghost of Heroes and Iroar going in when perhaps it would have been better if they held their tongue. But at the end of the day, you did take an inhibitor for it, so it can't be the worst trade in the world.
No, definitely not. And that puts them in a bit more of a comfortable position to be able to continue the aggression on other lanes.
But Mimness is in a very uncomfortable situation with the cow on top of him that slides his way to safety.
I think that was more of a you know, it was more of a show. You know, I'm going to push you back into the Baron pit. Oh wait, my team's not here yet. Okay, I just did that for show. I hope you enjoyed it. Now run along.
You say it's for show. You get play-by-play like me, and it's simply whenever something happens, the hype gets going. So
that is definitely true. I feel like I'm sort of morphing between the two.
Yeah, you can. Oh, Cold Noob's in a 1 versus 2, and this one actually has a lot of crowd control, but realistically, not a lot of damage is coming out of here. He's taking a half health, but with Bear Stance, he's running out of there, and it's Baron time. As we seem to be jumping back and forth, Baron down to 2k health. Are they going to try and commit for it? Tidal Wave coming out, does not connect. Spray and Pray coming out. Soul Bunny taken out so low. They do secure the Baron, but Soul Bunny pays for it with his life. He stood too close to a little rat. Ghost of Heroes trying to run where he can. Nightwing, can he get the damage in? He's got his 2 crit items. Elmer trying to protect his support the best he can. Nightwing taking 1, 2 silver bots, but not a 3rd tap, and they did secure the Baron at the cost of only their mid laner.
Yes, and if it is only one person that has gone down, you know, if you get the Baron at the cost of only one person and all 4 other players have the Baron buff still active, that is still going to be a beneficial push right there.
Ooh, Cold Noob really wants a piece of this. I mean, he's been playing aggressive all game, and he really wants a piece of AP. A teleport coming in now from Ghost of Heroes. He swapped his ability to a teleport. I didn't see that one coming. I forgot about that. Big God's now in a lot of trouble. The unexpected Alistar is indeed the deadliest as he uses his taunt. But now the Vayne is here and he's going to fall. Teleport supports. Let's go.
He's just showing us why having Spellbook as your keystone is, you know, beneficial to be as a support. Now, he started off with Exhaust, which would have put them in a good early lane spot, and now he's got himself Teleport to be able to be anywhere on the map within a split moment. And as we saw just then, it paid off well. It rewarded them. That was a 3-man mention with that single kill on the Galio, which will put them collectively further ahead because there'll be, you know, gold split between all 3, with the kill mention getting the most gold.
Definitely, and I'll just really admit I was not prepared for the teleport coming in out of the side, but looking at the gold, they are still over a 10k disadvantage, and they are getting, you know, they're not bleeding too heavily, but they need to do something, because I feel like if they could just try and sustain against the Baron push, they're really going to struggle here.
You are definitely correct there. Just look at that. All three fronts. The bot lane, the mid lane, the top lane are all past that midpoint, which is, you know, they've opened up the map a little bit more for Salty Ninjas, and they have the freedom to roam.
Definitely, and that map vision, Calbo really wants to try and force something, gets the taunt onto the Lux. Lux is not able to get away from the heroes, and actually gets completely deleted while Spray and Pray is going up. The Kavite is completely disjointed. We see Ghost of Heroes and Iroar trying to do what they can. They're in a 2 versus 4, a 2 versus 5. They're trying to do that absolute damage, but they're not able to get on top of Nightwing. Nightwing is surviving throughout all of his Ghost of Hero fall. 3 members die, and Elmir runs for his life while Udyr takes the base. Actually, Elmir, what are you doing? You're trying to be way too aggro. You get punished for it. I completely dropped my microphone. Ral Nugov looks like he's just going to try and end, actually, Super Minions with Baron in the end. Is he simply going to backdoor while they're there? Kangaroo throws him away with the hammer while the rest of the team is pushing up, but that was very interesting to watch. As you see, one Nexus turret falls down. New Gob says, "See ya!" and runs.
The ambition and optimism that Salty Ninja showed as they went in one by one was very admirable, but unfortunately just not very rewarding in this case. Giving them, essentially being eliminated one by one, and giving the Alpacas that option to be able to move around, push the lane all the way to the inhibitor as we are looking at right now.
Whoa! Absolutely deleted. Nightwing gets basically one shot, and his support dies very later. The Udyr comes in from the backline. Cowboy is probably going to run for it. Is the Powerball enough? It looks like it might be, but Twitch was not ready for that.
I believe they are now ready for their roasted rat that Lux just dished up for them.
That was a one shot.
That is Lux for you. She knows how to do a lot of damage very quickly within a short time frame. She can be very good as sustainable damage mage or an all-in-one mage.
Oh, a dive coming in on Cowboy, taking a lot of damage. Kangaroo Man and Cowboy trying to service the front line to see the lightning bolt misses this time. That is a bad storm coming out. The hammer throwing two away. Cold Noob is now tanking up the turret in the front line, and looks like he really wants a piece of this. Actually thrown away from Kangaroo Man. Kangaroo Man is out of mana. He's going to dive on top. It's a 2 versus 5 even under the turret. It is surely not going to be enough. Kangaroo does fall. Pit God is not going to survive. Surely to God tries to get himself out of the heroic entrance, but it is too cheeky. He falls down. He does manage to pick up Ghost of Heroes, who falls once again, but that is so worthwhile. Pray and Pray opening up, but it is simply not enough damage. Cold Noob getting knocked up is not taken out just yet. One more auto attack will be enough. Oh, Twitch has been caught, but it is not deleted just yet. There was no final spark available. There we go. Gets utterly deleted. Beautiful combination coming in from the mid and the AD carriers. Surely to God, this is game.
I think Lux is very hungry right now. First she created, herself a nice recipe of roasted rat. Now she has herself some nice warm sushi.
Definitely, and that is going to be game number 1, going towards the Salty Ninjas, taking it over the Alpaca Appreciation Society.
I must say, that was a really outstanding performance by Salty Ninjas right there. Especially a special mention to Cold Noob with that backdoor. And just, Soul Bunny with the continuous poke, the continuous ability to throw her ulti and, to throw everything in and just, get rewarded nicely for it. Shyvana with the all-round tankiness and the effectiveness, as historically Shyvana has been. She's been very good as a team fight-based champion.
Definitely.
And with game 1 finished, guys, we will go to a very short break, but we'll be back very soon with game number 2.
Hope you find what you've been looking for. Trust me, I don't wanna feel no more. Never mind, I'm thinking out loud before we draw a crowd. Reel it in, take it easy, there's no need to scream and shout. As far as I can see, my head think it's time for you to leave in peace. As far as I can see, my head think it's time for you to leave in peace.
Hello everyone and welcome back to match 2 between Alpaca Appreciation Society and the Salty Ninjas. I'm joined here with my co-host Etos. Etos, how are we doing?
Very good after that last game where we had the Salty Ninjas take the first match of this best of 3 series against the Alpaca Appreciation Society. And as we load into game 2, the teams have indeed swapped sides. So we'll have to see, are we expecting similar bans to the previous game? Or you think we'll see, okay, this was an issue with us last game, like this Udyr, for example. Are they going to ban Udyr as a direct response to the previous game?
If I was the Alpaca Appreciation Society, I would also want to ban something that would be a huge problem in the second game, especially a problem that cannot be controlled very easily. Like for instance, that Udyr in that last game, I would want to have him banned so that way I have a bit more of a comfortable spot to, to be able to play the game and give my team a little bit more legroom to be able to try and, make plays and, potential and aim for that win that, your team wants to try and achieve throughout the game.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I'm looking at the previous bans and picks from the previous game, and I'd say, honestly, you could probably get rid of the Shen ban. No, actually, no, apologies. Oh, no, because there were 3 bans that were not made in the previous game. Unfortunately, we're still not entirely sure the reasoning why, whether it was a team choice or whether it was I believe we did start quite late as a result of the Alpacas, so maybe that was as a time delay. I honestly don't know, unfortunately, but hopefully they have access to these bans and take away something, like that Udyr that was just a real pain in the ass last game for them.
For those who might, for those of you watching at home, to settle some small confusion, we had to restart the lobby twice. One because one of the players wanted to play as Vayne, being on a new account, so with limited champions, available to them, they needed to recreate so that they could, get Vayne in, so where they can actually put them on the team as the team wants that person to play as that single champion. That as well, one team also only made one ban throughout the entire series with a four no champion ban. Unfortunately, that is not really allowed in in the University Rumble, as it's a little bit unfair, to say the least.
And I do agree. It's not ideal, is definitely the way I'd say it. But unfortunately, there's nothing you can really do about in this scenario. Not everyone's going to have every champion unlocked. They do, with the new system, they are a bit easier, but you can't. It's a bit unfortunate, sure, but at the end of the day, these accounts are these players' personal accounts, so we just have to go with. They just have to roll with, the punches as it goes.
Yes, you are correct by far. You are definitely correct by far. And still waiting on one person to come back from the bathroom break. Maybe it's going a little bit longer than I expected.
There we go.
And as I speak, we are now heading into Game 2 Champion Select.
All right. So, like I said, I'm excited to see. We have the Alpaca Appreciation Society left, and Shabana, huge issue last game, says, IRAW, you're not allowed it anymore. So we'll have to see.
Coming into Game 2, sorry, with that small delay, coming into Game 2 with that first champion ban, we see Shavana over on the side of, I believe it's Ninjas in Pajamas. Sorry, is it Salty Ninjas on the left-hand side this time, or the right-hand side?
The teams have swapped sides, so it's the Alpaca Appreciation Society on the left, or the blue side, and the Salty Ninjas are on the right side. So they've swapped sides from their previous game. So.
Okay then.
Blitzcrank taken away. I believe that was the same kit. Blitzcrank was their one ban in the previous game, so obviously don't want to deal with that. And Yasuo, I'm trying to write this down pen, and I just wrote the word Blitzcrank twice.
Yasuo is a very common ban. He's a type of champion that if he gets fed, it's pretty much game over. Or better yet, the minute he gets 100% crit chance, it is game over.
It's also known as 2 items. So Xayah taken away. Xayah was banned second ban phase by the Salty Ninjas in the previous game. So obviously there's something about Nightwing's. Oh, there we go. Udyr. Okay, I'll come back to that point later. Udyr taken away. Are we really surprised?
No, I don't think we'd definitely be surprised. There was a prediction that we did make while we were still in the loading screen, just waiting for the players to sort themselves out and get ready. However, seeing the Galio ban on the side of Salty Ninjas is quite interesting, as they versed the Galio last game. What are they afraid of that they had to have Galio banned this game?
Obviously in the previous game, they must have thought that, Galio was a very big issue for them. So, Shen locked in first pick, which was banned last game. Now, I highly suspect that this Twisted Fate is once again another placeholder for a Vayne pick. So, that's what I'm assuming it is, because there's no way it's not. You don't blind pick TF these days. So, let's go with the assumption that TF is actually a Vayne pick. So we'll have a repeat of what we had in the previous game. And Kayn locked in. Oh yes, let's go.
We see ourselves a Kayn. I've not seen Kayn in a while, but he is also a very common champion. He's a very common champion that can be very good, especially once he gets that 1 or 2 kill lead. I'm more curious to see what keystone he's going to play this game. Is it going to be a Dark Harvest, or the traditional electrocute? We will find out when we get into the champion loading screen.
So we have Warwick and Malzahar. Now Warwick isn't a huge surprise. Warwick's really been climbing up that list of junglers. He's been picking himself up. He's a very reliable, safe jungler. But Malzahar locked in for this mid lane, which I'm actually... Yeah, so Soul Bunny goes for locked again, which isn't a huge surprise. But the Malzahar pick is basically... It's similar to a Galio, except more damage, basically. Can take more damage and can deal more damage.
You are correct. I mean, Soul Bunny is going again with the Lux in game number 2. Either it's a very comfortable pick, or it could be a trade pick. Seeing a Twisted Fate along with a Lux on the same team, I'm a little bit confused. Is that going to be a Lux support or a Lux mid?
Oh no, so I believe this TF similar to last game, is a simple placeholder for Vayne. Because it makes very little sense to blind pick a TF otherwise. So
I would assume that we're going to have a reset, are we?
yeah, I'd be willing to almost bet on it because it's what they did last game. It's the same. It's the exact same thing, and Elamir is obviously very comfortable on the Vayne. So I'm sure if we can like poke a supervisor, that they'll confirm that that's what's happening because they did it last game, and I'm sure everyone knows that that's exactly what it's going to be.
I assume so as well. It's just a little bit confusing at the moment for you know, to see this happening out right now. You know, it's a blind pick Twisted Fate. I assume they want to get a Vayne in again somehow.
Yeah, and there's Caitlyn once again taken away, which is simply you don't want to. Caitlyn into Vayne hurts. Like the Caitlyn pick pretty much says to me at least confirms exactly what I'm thinking, which is that it's a Vayne placeholder once again because you don't ban Caitlyn otherwise. I mean, Caitlyn's main threat is she bullies Vayne very hard, and Leona taking away 2 engaged supports are not allowed to play today.
Well, it makes sense, you know, Vayne having like one of the least, you know, the smallest attack range between champions, and Caitlyn being the longest of the entire list. It only makes sense. Yeah,
I got very excited, so I highly doubt Elam is picking for himself right now. I think the Vayne hobble is simply to be a little bit funny.
Coming over with that Heimerdinger pick, I assume that might be a Heimerdinger for the top lane to counter a Shen. That could make do. That could work actually. You know, being as he's a turret-based champion. You know, he relies on his turrets to be able to be very efficient. You know, to be very strong. To be a champion essentially. That is how he is as a champion. If he wants to be Heimerdinger, he needs the turret.
Okay, so we're getting into some crazy world. So we're seeing Heimerdinger top into Shen. So Cold Noob has no intention of grouping with his team, much like last game, I feel. And we're seeing Nightwind picking up the Draven. And if this Draven Nami gets logged in, this lane is gonna really hurt, especially for Vayne.
This game is gonna rock. It's just gonna be a pool party down there. I can just see that happening right now.
All right, so Morgana locked in, and we're gonna see the lobby exit once again. So it's the exact same as the previous game.
I'm a little confused as to why they have this thing called the placeholder. You know, for these players. Like, I'm confused myself, and I assume you viewers at home would also be just as confused. Etos, would you be able to help, you know, enlighten our confusion a little bit?
So basically, the reason I've done quite a few of games like this, so I know why they do it. Basically, the person does not. So Cold Noob on his account does not have access to Vayne, but they want to first pick the Vayne in. So basically what they do is they pick a champion. So pretty much because if they don't pick a champion, then the lobby ends straight away. So what they do is they take themselves the Vayne. They say, okay, well, we want this champion. They declare that they want this champion. In game 1, we were contacted by the admin Eric, who simply said, hey, I'll try to find the message exactly. Yeah, he says TF is a placeholder pick for Vayne. So it basically says, you know, they have every intention of picking this champion. They're not able to due to this account not having the champion that they desire. So pick it so that we continue the pick ban phase, and then when you reach the end of the pick ban phase, you reset, and then you simply pick for yourself where you have your own champion. Is effectively what the point of a placeholder is. You don't see it in competitive play at all because those accounts are customized by Riot themselves, but in tournaments like this, that Riot's not exactly gonna give the hand of God to us. There's some we have to make improvisations where we can.
That makes complete sense to me. That makes complete sense. And if the if the head moderator has approved of it, then it is completely fine to go with. And it is understandable that being an outside tournament, that not all champions will be unlocked. Unfortunately, we don't have that kind of luxury as the pro scene does. I wish we did, but unfortunately we do not. Maybe one day we might.
You're just gonna make do with what we can, and for now, this is the band-aid solution.
Yes, the band-aid solution. I like that. I like that blanket.
Wait. Pantheon.
A Pantheon pick over for Cold Noob. That'll be an interesting play to see, that is for sure. He could be quite efficient. Maybe he's probably got an idea to try and go up against a Shen. We'll find out when this game starts.
I'm very confused because I thought the placeholder was for Vayne, but
There must have been. He must have talked with the moderator, and moderator's approved of the sudden change.
okay, that's.
We will roll with it. We will roll
off
with it for the time being. We will roll with it for the
Yeah,
time being.
I'm-
We'll sort this
so
gimmick out
that
later.
means that Heimerdinger Monk bot lane, because they've still, unless Heimerdinger was also another placeholder.
I believe it was just to fill the champion slots, so that way, you know, the lobby ends.
God, this is. I find these placeholder scenarios very confusing, and because we don't have, the players aren't communicating with us; they communicate with the admin themselves, and I find it very confusing when we go through the second lobby and suddenly I see picks that I'm like, what? So, Pantheon Shen, I mean, it's just as painful as Heimerdinger, right? Yeah, there's Vayne. Okay.
It can be as painful, but it also depends on how Shen works about it, because both champions have the ability to, soak up the first damage, well, to be able to soak up basic attack hits. Shen, with his, I believe it's his E. No, sorry, his E is his taunt with his W, which creates sort of a blue circle around his spirit sword that allows him to dodge any form of basic attack that comes his way. Pantheon has his passive where he soaks up the first basic attack that comes his way, but it is a once-off use. He has to recharge it afterwards. And with his ability to jump on people, that also refreshes the shield. So he would be able to get the advantage on Shen if they're going for a team, for a trade-off situation. It can really depend on how they play it out, really. Like some people can be very efficient and maximize the capabilities of that champion and exploit some of the mechanics behind it. Like with Pantheon, he can actually soak up 2 basic attacks within a single trade and still come out on top without any damage sustainably taken. Whereas we go over to Shen. Shen can just soak up a lot of, all basic attacks for, probably 5... I think it's 3 seconds he's allowed to.
I was playing Shen today, but unfortunately I don't recall the duration of the ability. But you're right, it's a large duration. It's a couple seconds where it cancels any and all auto attack based abilities, including something like Gangplank. I had picked it into a Gangplank, so it negated his parlay ability. But it's going to help Kangaroo in this top lane deal with Pantheon, who, Cold Noob had quite a fun time against Kangaroo Man. Kangaroo not so much in that top lane in the previous game. So Kangaroo's hoping for a bit of vengeance this game.
Yes, it'll be an interesting matchup in DIV, especially with how the bot lane has sorted themselves out. And as we can see, we have a huge meta player, or a huge meta champion, Malzahar, has had a very high win ratio for at least the last 2 to 3 patches. He has been very efficient, very reliable, and recently a lot of people have been starting to watch this streamer called Dopa. And he has had a lot of, he's released a lot of videos on how to play Malzahar efficiently. And a lot of people have been adopting, his playstyle, and it is actually working for them too. I tried it yesterday, and it is a very efficient use. Malzahar is just making a huge comeback and coming up against Lux. It's all a matter of how aggressive Lux can be as to, how much he can try and put Malzahar on the defensive in the early game stage. Looking down towards the bottom lane, we have a Vayne and Morgana scenario. Seeing as, Draven and Nami are almost, the perfect, poking duo, it can be very interesting. Like, Morgana's Black Shield can negate Nami's E, where it slows down, people with his basic attacks.
Yeah, this bot lane, the Vayne Draven matchup, I know one is supposed to be the counter to the other. The issue is I can never remember which one is which. But it's pretty much you pick one and you go for the other one. And in theory, I think it's either skill or it's a matchup. I might have to do my research, unfortunately. But if you look at the crowd control coming in from both lanes, I mean, the Black Shield is going to negate a lot of what Nami wants to do. And Morgana herself, with that Soul Shackles and that Dark Binding, can throw quite a bit onto Nightwing.
You are completely right there, actually. And if Morgana's snare does not pop off on either Draven or Nami, it'll pretty much put them behind. They will have to, reset themselves for that snare to, come off cooldown to make another attempt. if Vayne makes the gets the initiate and knocks any of them into a wall, it could be a very fun trade-off. It'll put them both in a standoff, mainly in towards the advantage of Elamore and Ghost of Heroes, because when someone is knocked into the wall and you have a Morgana on your side, it is just common sense to throw your snare at that person, who's stunned. Because it's a secured snare, and it just, prolongs the duration that they're going to be in the team fight for. And, most commonly, you also win that trade too. So you get a free kill, you get the lane advantage, you get, free minions, and sometimes, you could be very aggressive. You can have your support, poke the enemy ADC, keep him under the turret, while your ADC is having a nice feast on the bot lane.
And we're seeing Ghost of Heroes running with that spellbook once again, and so is 8-Bit God. And I'm seeing a lot of things here. I'm seeing Ignite top. I'm seeing 2 spellbooks. I mean, this game's got everything. So this is going to be quite a party as we are loading into game 2 between the Alpaca Appreciation Society and the Salty Ninjas. And remember that the Alpaca Appreciation Society, they need to win this game, or else it's simply good night Buttercup for them.
You are completely correct there, my friend. You are completely correct. And as we head into game 1, remember we have to sync ourselves up at 20 seconds.
Yes, I will remember to do it this time, as we had a bit of an issue in that last game. So 20 seconds. So do we pause? We want to pause at 20 seconds to ensure we're both there, or simply let it play out?
Pause at 20 seconds when you get to 20, and I will pause at 20, and then I'll do a countdown.
Yeah, so that'll work a lot easier. So we're seeing the Relic Shield start for the AD carry, not a surprise, but actually Nightwing's going for the Doran's Blade, so taking his own spin on what is considered the quote-unquote meta right now. As we are... I pause at 20.
I am paused at 20. Sorry, let me go back to 21. There we go, 20. If it will let me pause. I apologize, folks. It does get a little bit hairy to try and sync things up. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Play. Alright, lovely. So we should be synced up. And early game shenanigans, do you expect any?
I don't really know, but if we look over towards both teams right now, we have a 2-2 situation, but that's over to the side of the Alpacas, whereas we see Salty Ninjas at the moment. Salty Ninjas are at a 4-1 situation. Now they are pretty much repeating the same technique they did last game, where they started off as a 4-man ward in that bush, as you mentioned as well throughout that time, Ethos. As where we see over the side of the Alpacas that they are sort of trying to, I'd say they're pretty much going with a passive, the passive farm to get the blue first, but they are being human wards in the river to see where where the Salty Ninjas might be. And it is always good to know where your enemy is. That way you can start predicting what to do. It's like a game of chess. You know where the pieces are. Now all you need to do is try and find the right moves to play down.
Definitely. Trying to play chess without seeing the upper half of the board is extremely difficult. So, not impossible, just very, very difficult. So we'll have to see. So they had the line of scrimmage set up, and they are going to notice the fact that, hey, Warwick started on the top side, and they'll know for a fact that because Shen's being late to lane, and Element and Ghost are late to lane, that they know the junglers have started on the opposite side of the map to each other. I would love to see some sort of early invade shenanigans going on, simply to try and catch another player off guard, but we'll have to see as Cold Noob showing why Ignite, using that with that Ignite Pantheon is like, this is my lane, welcome.
A very good scenario you've painted a picture for in my head, Ethos.
Really good route into Nightwing this early on. That's a bit of damage coming in.
I don't really see very many Dravens using press the attack anymore. I'm liking how aggressive he is. He is as Draven, and how much is rewarding him at the moment. He is trying to make sure that Vayne is played out properly this game. Putting her behind in the early game and going to try and punish her in the late game for picking Vayne.
Yeah, definitely. And we look at the CS. I mean, it's already started to tell its story. I mean, the wave is going to start shoving into the Vayne, so hopefully she's going to gather some more CS under her belt. In top lane, welcome to Pantheon, Kangaroo. You're at 2 CS to 9. This
Yeah.
hurts.
Cold Noob is proving, proving to us how much he isn't a noob for the top lane.
Ooh, Kangaroo tries to take a trade and get punished. I think rightfully so. That was way too aggressive considering the situation he's in, as Nightwing just runs into another bite and says, I can take it. Let's go.
And as much as it pains for me to see as well as say right now, Draven unfortunately missed an axe, which set him back from a kill.
Oh, but Bitgod's in a bit of trouble once again. He got bullied early game, the ignite. Oh, the knock-up, not able to connect, but Bitgod was having a few issues in the previous game, and the ninjas want to remind him of that.
Yes, they want to remind him how much of a player Soul Bunny is, especially with Lux, and I can only assume that Lux is her signature champion for this, for this game.
Ooh, Cold Noob taunted up under turret and is able to counter 2 turret shots. Flash ignite coming in, Kangaroo flashes into the wall and does nothing, and first blood for Cold Noob. There we go, close enough.
You eventually got there in the end, Intels. You eventually got there in the end. Well done.
I tripped over the 2 easiest words of that sentence. That's just embarrassing.
That's perfectly fine. Looking over towards the top lane, we see a teleport happening from Shen to, close that gap in, to try and minimize, try and close the gap on how much farm he will miss and how much XP he could have missed just by simply running back up to the lane. He wants to try and keep as close to Pantheon as he can in this early lane phase, as it can be a problem late game, especially when a Pantheon gets fed.
Yeah, I agree with you there. When Pantheon gets fed, it's no fun for anyone, but the consolation prize that they need to look at is the fact that, hey, come to the later stage of the game, Pantheon does fall off. I mean, if he isn't able to get his split push going up against Shen in the mid phase of the game, he does eventually start falling off. So I feel like that's kind of what they're banking on. They're saying, okay, this lane's gonna suck for you, Kangaroo, but just pour it out, and we'll help you. We'll cover you in the later stages of the game. See.
A small little trade-off happening towards mid lane. The common poke from Malzahar is it's a very efficient way for Malzahar to be able to continue his push. Malzahar's Malefic Visions is reset every time either his ultimate is used, or I believe it is called Touch the Void is also used as well. And Malefic Visions is Malzahar's signature ability. Everything else is pretty much, a combo of it. Like, Malefic Visions relies on everything else to happen, as well, everything relies on it to happen. Otherwise, it's just a simple poke, and it just doesn't really, it just ends right there. There's no continuum.
Yeah, but there's a lot of wave clears. We see Soul Bunny is just being shoved under turret again and again and again, and you're gonna feel a bit sorry for Soul Bunny. Although, the easy thing about it, this is kind of vengeance from the previous game where he kept shoving Bitgod under the turret as Galio is like, you want to play this game? I'll play this game.
Yeah, that is definitely true. That is completely true. And looking over towards the bot lane, they are showing how aggressive they are as a duo. They want to punish Vayne for the last game. They want to punish Heroes for the last game, playing as the Vayne and Alistair combo. I think, as we can see at the moment, that Heroes and Elamore are trying to play around the Vayne for a majority of this game. And so far, it is looking very grim for them as Draven is being the pusher.
The junglers are meeting up, and Kane forced to run away. Kalba is easily winning this trade, and Nairo, this is not where you want to be. Soul Bunny is around. Naturally, now Kalba is out of position. The other team collapsed before his did, and that's not really the best start, especially when the Vayne picks up the kill of all champions.
No, but looking towards the mini map. Oh, happening over in the top lane is Shen versus Pantheon.
Kangaroo's doing a really good job taunting Pantheon whenever he's under turret. It simply means Cold Noob takes a lot of quote unnecessary damage simply because he's forced to attack the Shen while in turret range, and he can't block every shot with his passive.
Well, as we can see, he's being very cold towards Shen right now. He does not want Shen to warm up. He wants him to remain cold and without the ability to catch up.
I mean, I'm just looking at the farm differences, and damn, you are not even wrong with that statement. 45 to 17 up in the top lane and 67 to 38 in the bot. I mean, we're basically seeing the same story on different sides of the map.
Very true. Looking towards mid lane, we see a very close gold gun.
Uses that ability and uses that I forget what the Warwick ultimate is called, but Cold Noob taking quite low. Infinite Duress is the ability name that my brain decided to forget. But not able to kill Cold Noob.
No, Cold Noob's ability to stun him and regenerate his passive to block the next basic attack also works against Warwick's Bite, seeing as Warwick's Bite is considered a basic attack move.
Huh, now we've learnt. The things you learn. So, first back starting through Draven, 72 CS up, picks up most of his Infinity Edge, all the attack damage he needs, and Vayne is really going to feel the pain when he comes back in the lane.
That is completely correct. If we all look down towards the item build, over towards Draven, we see a BF sword and a pickaxe for the first back. So far in this game, Draven has been, he has been the alpha male of the bottom lane between the two.
Ooh, kangaroo. Whenever I see Cold Noob jump onto poor little kangaroo, man, I can't not get excited, especially considering Kayn and Lux are here as well. And I think if they interrupt us back there, we go the final spark coming out. There's going to be a dive. 2 flashes! They did not want Kangaroo Man to even have a chance of escaping that.
No, they want him to remain as cold as possible and Pantheon get as far ahead as he can. Last game, he was a very good split pusher. He rewarded the team with a 4-1 split combo. Now he's trying to do something else. He's trying to get his team fed. So far, we see from both attempts at top lane, Kayn has got both.
Flashed, and it's a bit odd. The silence is down. There we go. The Nevergrass being used, but it's simply poke at this point. Actually, Soul Bunny's in a lot of trouble. It's overstayed, uses the barrier, and is taken out by the flash chomp out of the Warwick. As we see, more trading down the bot lane element, and he goes taking a lot of damage. And Pantheon's man drop is here. It's raining men as Cold Noob tries to fight the wolf there. Ignite coming out onto 8-bit, but forced away. Cold Noob is actually taking quite low. Calba, it might one more auto. That's going to be it. And Calba picks himself up too in all of that.
Yes, and a very unfortunate, entrance from Pantheon. As you said, it may be raining men, but it's also raining, fresh meat for, Warwick to take a bite out of today. Malzahar managed to get out of the skin on his teeth and avoid that basic attack bonus.
They got in the bot lane, sorry to cut you off. Ghost of Heroes taking solo, the heal being burnt out of Elmer, and those guys are really posturing for a fight. Ghost of Heroes so low after all of that.
I could feel Draven's bloodlust beginning to rise with the accumulation of his passive right now. He wants to cash in. He wants that bonus. He wants that Vayne to suffer horribly. Elamora is looking like a favourable target for Draven to take out on a night on the town.
They're going to go down, and the fear does not connect. Elamora taking a lot of damage. Nightwing's tanking up the turret. He's going to get dived on without picking up an even kill. Draven has fallen down as Iroh trying to do it again. Kelba is not able to secure the kill onto the Morgana, and Kelvin is now inside of the Nami. He loves himself some sushi. The Lightning Bolt is taking out Kangaroo Man, and now the fish is trying to get away, but is food for the Darkin.
Yeah, it's a very, very good and very strong roaring entrance for Iroh right there. Just coming in, taking in 2 kills to start with, and actually taking all 3, or at least getting a mention on all 3 of those kills right there. That was just absolutely phenomenal. That was a really great invade, or a really good gank from Kayn on its own, and it just rewarded him with 3 assists. Vayne gets an early kill, as well as 2 assists on top of that. Just closes the gap.
You're in trouble. Nevergrasp is going down. He is rooted up and taking so much damage. His silence. One more auto is enough. And Soul Bunny, that was brutal to watch.
It was a nightmare. I will say that. It was a complete nightmare for Lux right there.
Definitely, the lightning bolt from last game not able to save her out of that trouble. But as you were saying from Iroh, that was a really good counter game coming in, as Iroh is Calba really smells blood in the water, but doesn't know where it is exactly.
No, that was a really good attempt of an invasion by him right there. Unfortunately, he's not taking the opportunity to ward their jungle. That is why, because he has no war charges available to him. I completely mismatched the trinkets on both sides.
That was first blood turret already. Wow, that was Malzahar wave clear right there. Jesus.
Malzahar is really looking to punish Lux for that last game. He was good as Galio, but Lux just proved to be the ultimate victor. This game, he wants to punish her for that. He wants to show her that he is no easy target.
Oh, Ghost knocked up and taking so much damage. Stand aside of Draven. The Whirling Death cashes in. The man drop coming in. It's raining men. Is now a 2v2 once again. The tunnel way coming out does not land on Almir. He goes in 1, 2. No, is knocked up once again. Draven throwing those axes around. Cold Noob coming in. The Ignite is available and absolutely melts the Draven. Nami is trying to do what she can, but I think it's a delaying tactic. There we go. Infinite Duress coming in. Kalba and Cold Noob, they've been to this dance before, and Kalba feeds once again.
Yes, he is definitely having quite the feast with the bot lane right there, especially with Pantheon getting himself caught out. He did really well to, come online when they were near low health, and when a champion gets below, I think it's 10% health, all of his attacks do crit damage regardless.
Whoa, 8-bit God going in once again. Soul Bunny taking out so low. The flash and the ignite and the burn from the Malefic Visions. The Prophet of the Void takes no prisoners.
I guess the nightmares were a little too much for Lux at this case. She broke wind.
Ooh, Iroar is in the mood for blood. Everyone wants blood. Kangaroo's in a bit of trouble. Iroar, is it going to be enough? He has not picked a form yet, but Kangaroo, it doesn't matter. He's going to slice you up with that scythe and goodbye.
He is definitely roaring himself around the field, that's for sure. Just that roar of that scythe is pretty much meeting a fatal end to any person it comes into contact with.
Kalba, you're not in the bush, mate. He can see you.
Maybe he's just trying to have a show, maybe he's probably trying to do the zombie dance. As we all know, Warwick has a very funny dance, the Michael Jackson wolf dance.
He was just standing there and didn't move while I was much like, don't worry, if I don't move, no one can see me.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work like that, Warwick, but you gave us a really good show right there. It was a really good show you put on for us. He got out alive, he didn't die, he got out alive. So I guess it was definitely a good show he put on for us.
Definitely. Yeah, you can't disagree with that. And so turrets have been falling now. The mid-tier 1 for the side of the Salty Ninjas and the tier 1 on the top lane of the Alpaca Appreciation Society having finally fallen down.
And with those turrets down, we can definitely see the gold accumulation as well as the farm between both laners in opposing positions actually rapidly increasing. We have a 1500 gold lead for Malzahar. And, a 2000 gold lead almost.
Onto Nightwing and knocked up as well. The Darkin is here to play and he gets the shutdown onto Draven. There is no gold view. Man drop is coming in once again, but unfortunately it's simply going to be the kill for Nami.
He is rustling for blood, mate. He is rustling for blood right there.
That was a sexy dive. I mean, I don't think you needed Pantheon for that, though. I mean, Cold Noob just really wanted the blood in the water, and that's going to be another turret falling as well.
I wouldn't really say he didn't really need to dive. Like, closing the gap like that, using Pantheon's ultimate, is just as effective as, Twisted Fate's teleport. He closes the gap very quickly, and they're able to take down this, tier 1 turret for the bot lane. Increasing the gold gap between both teams right now. We see a 24.7 thousand gold accumulation for, the Alpacas, but then if we look over to Salty Ninjas, we see 12 kills, 2 turrets with a 28,000 gold, accumulation, which puts them ahead by at least 3,000 collectively.
Oh, Ghost of Heroes in a bit of trouble. Infinite Duress misses, but it looks like it's surely going to be enough. He burns down, and that is the second flash we've seen. Flash does not save you from Malzahar's Malefic Visions.
No, he is proving to be a very huge pain in the head, as well as a nightmare for the enemy team on its own right now.
I mean,
this type of gameplay is why Malzahar is very powerful right now. He is in meta, he is powerful, and 8-bit God is showing us why.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this Malzahar is a force to be reckoned with. 8-bit was struggling a bit last game with the Galio. He wasn't able to bring that much damage to the play. He was simply bringing a lot of crowd control and, the ability to survive Lux in lane. But this Malzahar pick is doing its work. And this turret looks like it might fall soon as well.
I think we might see this. I think we might see it come down.
Yeah, there's no way. Like, 1 or 2 more waves is surely going to do that, unless we see another 5-man bot. And I see a Lux, I see Pantheon, and I see a party.
I like parties. Let's join this party down here, shall we?
While all that was happening, they did secure themselves Rift Herald, and Dragon is up in 10 seconds. There's the Rift Herald going down, and I heard a flash coming out from somewhere, I think. Malzahar flashed. Wait, what? Malzahar flashed? Okay. So, Malzahar's flash is on cooldown, so obviously something happened, but this Mountain Dragon is going to fall to the Salty Ninjas. There's no contestation here. Smite goes down, and actually Warwick still wants a piece. This Lightning Bolt goes across the entire team. Tidal Wave as well. It's finally Shed is in the backline in there. Is not able to do anything. Kangaroo surviving up 4. Members Draven has cashed in on the Kane. Draven throws out that whirling death, and Draven's fight is here. Draven's fight is now. He flashes in. 1, 2, 1 more. There we go. 8-Bit takes it. Infinite Dress coming out into Elamir. The flash does not save you from the Warwick Q. How many people are going to get caught by that? Bunny tries to get up, but stand aside. Draven is here, and Draven wants blood. That turret is not going to save you. 8-Bit tanking it up. Ghost of Heroes is caught up by the Assailants, and Draven cashes in once again, tanking up the turret. And Lux, can you survive the Draven? And
I think she might sneak out. I think she's going to sneak out. No, she stayed under.
Oh no, the Malefic Vision. They know, they can see it, and there we go. 8-Bit picks it up.
I only have one thing to say about that entire situation. Welcome to the League of Draven, everybody!
That's what it was! Kangaroo did such a good job stalling, and then Draven finally popped off.
I think the only thing that was a little bit concerning right there, and I think what promoted or encouraged Lux to actually stand around and move, is that Malefic Visions. The minute that went onto a minion, she was scared, because she knew it was going to come to her. If she was if she was a little bit further away from the minion, she would have gone undetected, but unfortunately, they managed to get it onto her, just right there.
I'm just surprised that, you know, they didn't go straight for the brush as like, oh, hey, she's probably in here, let's go. They completely ignored the fact that Soul Bunny got away. They just like, we get it, great, if not, oh well.
Catching up with, well, you know, getting the four-man kill right there, or the entire ace, just brings them up, you know, to an even gold lead with the objectives taken.
Ooh, Calvo taking quite a bit of damage from Iroh. The Infinite Dress coming in. Warwick is hungry for blood. The Darkin jumps up inside and jumps away. Draven is here and Kane picks up a kill there. And the Lightning Bolt is not able to connect. Cold Noob on the front line gets double crowd controlled and absolutely shredded. Iroh running for his life. The Darkin might be able to get away. Ghost of Heroes on the front line throws out that Tormented Soil. 8-Bit God really wants to try and force something out of this, but both teams look like they're just backing away. But those were two really good catches.
You are definitely right. That was just an absolutely amazing play. Unfortunately, you know, Warwick and Nami died within that trade, but you know, they did well to take down Pantheon collectively as a team. Both teams are proving to be very aggressive at this point.
Whirling Death being burned and stand aside simply to stop the siege. Now, you see champions like Lucian do this from time to time, who burn the culling simply to try and keep the wave clear. And honestly, it may have worked because now Mimus is here and Caliber can't be that far behind. As we see a securation of the dragon, the securing of the jungle camps from the Salty team, taking away all that they can, as we see the flare coming out. I believe that's from Soul Bunny's Lux, and wants to let people know, oh, Calbert is not happy. You do not take his red buff without permission. So, Bit God is on the side now, and Ghost of Heroes is burning down, and the Malefic Visions is slimmest of HP. There we go. Flash Malefic Vision, Infinite Duress jumping over. Lightning Bolt coming out. Kerman taking out so low, but it doesn't look like he's going to be enough. He still wants to fight. Element burning that final hour, assuming there's going to be a re-engage, but the Alpaca appreciation say, nah, we're good. Let's go.
Throughout that entire situation, only one thing went through my mind that just created a little bit of concern. Lux, where was that last basic attack? He was lit. He was ready to be illuminated. What happened? Why?
Show him the light.
Yes, exactly. Show him the light. Show him how cold you can really be.
Well, no such luck. Unfortunately, Gold Bunny decided, nah, he may live forever in the darkness. And this mid lane turret, with 4 members up, I don't think it's going to be enough to save it.
No, that is going to be a complete tier 1 line of turrets down on the side of Salty Ninja.
Oh, but they're not giving up without a fight. The Nevergrass coming out. Soul Bunny is seeing nightmares and is going to fall down. There we go. Nimbus picking up the kill with the tidal wave. Cold Noob trying to run away, but he is snacked for the dog once again. Iroh in the backline trying to get what he can, but Big God is running away. The knockup does not land, and Ghost of Heroes and Elmir not able to contribute to this fight whatsoever. Caliban keeping their away. They're afraid of the big bad wolf, and Iroh is severely out of position, gets silenced up, gets ignited, and Draven is cashing in once again.
I gotta say, that is a lot of cashing in happening right there. I think the entire map's about to be filled with gold with the amount of kills he's starting to accumulate right here.
Oh, this is the League of Draven. You've got to remember that.
Yeah, I thank you for reminding me. I keep forgetting. This is the League of Draven we are entering into. We are entering the Usher of the Epic Mustache.
The epic mustache. Well, remember, when you see a Draven, you've got to remember there is a simple rule when a Draven's in your game, which is you're no longer playing League of Legends. You are playing League of Draven.
Exactly. Ray, he is the MVP of every single game.
I'm now just having flashbacks when the casters did that League of Legends Draven match.
Oh, that would have been a very
That
interesting
was-
matchup. I don't think I've seen it, but I could just only imagine how horrifying
If
it would
anyone
be.
has not watched that video, it is by Riot themselves. They basically got a bunch of casters. Remember back when the Draven event was happening and everyone had Draven bobbleheads on I'll come back to that as Kalba is being very greedy, knocked up into the wall, uses the infinite duress, flashes away, and Soul Bunny is not able to connect the binding, and everyone's missing. Stand United coming in. This is another 2 versus 4 as Kalba is trying to run, but they've left him to die, and he stands there and embraces fate, saying, "You can kill me, but my team spirit is unbroken."
And with that team spirit unbroken, they are making efforts. They're making plays to take the top turret. They are making use of the positioning that, that Salty Ninjas are out of at this point. They are a 5-man bot lane. While they, Salty Ninjas are trying to make, the advantage. They're trying to, keep the gap between the two, relatively close. Sorry, Alpacas are trying to get even further ahead. I am confused.
We are all confused, but also happens when you enter the League of Draven, nothing makes sense anymore, and that is an Infernal Dragon going over the second to the Ninjas, and that's really what you want for that team, especially when you're starting to fall a little bit behind.
Yes, before early in the game, they had at least a 3,000 gold lead, but now as we look at the scoreboard, they are even in turrets. The only difference between the two is that Salty Ninjas have 3 dragon objectives taken, 2 of them being the Infernal Dragon, which should put them ahead, when it comes to raw damage. But as we can see that, on the side of the Alpacas, collectively, they have gotten even more gold so far. They are pretty much swap positions now. They are just under 3,000 gold ahead.
They've definitely traded positions. If we can look at the gold tab, sure, while we can see that Cold Noob is 3,000 ahead, I want to address the mid lane as a lot of damage coming in. Oh, never mind that! Morgana is absolutely deluded, and Draven catches him once again. That is 1 for Draven and 1 for the fish. As Soul Bunny is running away from the front line. Kalba is locked up and taken down. No, Cold Noob is taken down. He shouldn't have been there. Kalba eventually falls. That is a 1 for 2 dive, and this turret is going to fall as well.
That's definitely true. Just looking at that team fight right there, that was heavily in the side of the Alpacas. They managed to get the turret as well as at least 3 kills onto the side of Salty Ninjas right there.
And I believe 8-Bit God is pulling his weight this game. I mean, he's 9-0, and he has, I believe that's a fully stacked Medjai's 25 souls in the Soul War he has claimed. And if that's not a terrifying Malzahar already, wait until he gets full items. As Kangaroo Man goes to the dive, Iroh is in a lot of trouble and gets deleted by Draven once again. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Draven's party, and the only guests are the dead corpses of his enemies.
You're knocking me out of my chair right now. You are knocking me out of my chair.
That was probably a bit far of an analogy. I apologize.
But it does make sense. The only people invited to this party will be his future corpses.
Oh, I don't think I'm allowed to say that on stream.
Oh well.
It's too late now.
The damage has been done. Whatever.
That was fun.
Both teams seem to be resetting themselves. Everyone going back to base. Cashing in their gold farm that they've got to collect some items. Malzahar almost doesn't even need to go back to base unless it's to just replenish his mana and health. Whereas everybody else are, just trying to increase the gap between, their enemy players. We've got Malzahar with a 5-item build, getting close to his final item. Warwick over with 3 items fully built, 2 to go. Shen is going with a very interesting build at the moment. He's got himself to Tiamat, but now he's going to a Giant's Bell, and I want to know how he's going to go about it, because he's sort of got 2 half-complete items, and I'm not sure whether he's going to, stick to one or he's just going to start spraying around the place. Draven being a solid build in the early part right now. 2 items built.
And we see a bit of fun. Kalba is being caught out once again and is forced to burn that duress in a really unideal situation, but does manage to escape with his life. You see, Lightning Bolt coming out is not nearly enough damage as the last time that made Sushi in one shot, and Ghost of Heroes taking a lot of damage. The Whirling Death coming out. Cold Noob is on the front line with no support, no love. Draven's here, baby! Picks himself up yet another kill. Ghost of Heroes is trying to run away, but Nightwing wants another kill. There we go, double kill for the Draven. A triple kill coming in for this Draven, and if this isn't League of Draven, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what is.
So far, Nightwing is showing us how formidable Draven is, especially when he is fed and he turns this game from League of Legends into the League of Draven. Those 2 fully built items right there, coming into a third with an Essence Reaver. He's only gonna get more frightening as the items accumulate. He is ahead of the vein. He is catching up to everybody on that team. He's catching up to his own Malzahar, at least.
Oh, very risky. 8-bit actually secures the Baron there. Sorry to cut you off there, but whew, I got a little bit closer than I'm sure the Alpacas wanted.
I think the Alpacas got what they needed out of that trade-off. They may not have gotten a kill, but they did get what they wanted.
Definitely, but going on to what you were saying about this Draven being a terrifying force, he got kill after kill and was on 2.5 items. He has now completed that Essence Reaver that you were talking about and has picked himself up the buildings of what I have to assume is a Bloodthirster with that BF sword and longsword. So, Draven, if you thought he was terrifying before, now he's unkillable and a god. Good luck.
Absolutely correct, but that can be one of 2 build pathways actually. That can either be a... No, sorry, actually yeah, only 1 build pathway now. They got rid of the BF sword towards the quick... the Mercurial Scimitar. I believe they got rid of the BF sword for that tree line, and now they've only got it as a pickaxe.
Yeah, I think it's actually a Vamp Scepter, the QSS, and it might be a pickaxe. I don't recall the 3rd item, but they've cracked the inhibitor line. The man drop's coming in, the suppression coming in onto Kaden, gets absolutely deleted. Iroar gets punished for bad positioning. Draven on the back line, no one is touching him once again, and the Whirling Death comes out, picks himself up, picks himself up too. There we go, Draven is online, and Bane has completely ignored the fact that Draven gets absolutely blown up by Lux once again. Infinite Dress does not land, and Kalba is just working on the inhibitor. He doesn't give a damn about Lux. Finally, he smells blood in the water. 1-2 is not enough to kill out Bunny. Bunny running flash. There we go. Picks up the ace for his team. And while 2 of the members are around in the jungle, this is going to be an inhibitor at the very minimum.
I think so, and I'm curious to see what Shen and Nami are going to do. I'm very curious as to why they've gone towards bot lane when they had, they've got the complete push, especially through the mid lane. Oh, I see what they're doing. They're resetting the top lane to be able to increase the push. They are trying to keep all 3 lanes on the aggression. They are trying to keep that priority line pushed. And I believe at this point the priority line is just above where the tier 1 turrets are. It is actually halfway between both the tier 2 and the tier 1 turrets now. But towards the mid lane we can see that with the epic minions already unlocked, that they won't need to worry about mid lane anytime soon. They have already got that locked down. Those epic minions will do the job for them. Now it's the only thing left for Alpacas to do is just push top and bottom, get those inhibitors, or try and make for a complete ace and then just go for the win.
Yeah, I do agree with you. I do think that this idea of playing around the side lanes is probably the smarter option. I mean, mid lane's going to shove in. That's what happens when you get super minions. So I honestly think if you can play around the dragons, as we see the 4th dragon, is this actually going to go over to the Salty Ninjas? Because if it does, then the Elder Dragon becomes a serious red flag, as indeed it is taken down with no contestation coming in, a tidal wave, but that'll be a 4-dragon Elder Dragon, assuming they can live that long.
Yes, and with two Infernal Dragons already under their belt, that's only going to, make them even more frightening when they do get their Elder Dragon. So far, the stats are looking very close between I and I, but if we look at the gold accumulation between the two, there is almost a 10,000 gold lead towards the Alpacas. They also have 3 turret advantage, and one of them pushed all the way to the inhibitor. I am beginning to see such a very hairy situation between both teams, and it's come down to that point in the game now that one ace could make the match on either side. If both teams if the Salty Ninjas manage to get, the ace, they might be able to push all the way to base. It depends on how well their lanes are pushed. If their lanes are completely pushed, that ace will only save them.
Oh, Lux caught out once again and is deleted by 8-bit himself. Wants vengeance in the water. 11-1 now, and that is not the champion you want to be losing. This is your main. This is your mid lane mage. This is your wave clear champion, and with that falling down, I honestly don't know if they continue to commit mid, how much wave clear is actually available.
There won't be almost any wave clear left for Salty Ninjas at this point. Salty Ninjas have already got both top and bottom lane, pushed backwards. They are trying to keep themselves alive. However, in the mid lane, with those super minions active and making towards the turret, those super minions defend the other minions.
They've got it there. We got a man drop coming in right on top of Nightwing, but Heroes falls down already. Cold Noob is trying to do what he can, but is simply forced away by the Draven. He doesn't give a damn. Whirling Death coming out. Warwick does eventually fall, but Element is trying to run for his life. Iroh doing the damage that he can. Two have already fallen down, and Draven, there we go. Draven gets online. Draven gets one. Draven does not get himself a second taunt coming in as the Nami falls, and Draven is so low, but he has that Guardian Angel. Does get popped up. Kangaroo gets vengeance for all the Blading Fez, says, screw you, this is my vengeance. And Nightwing doing again. The Stand United keeping him alive, and that is a really good ace. In the base, that's surely going to be game.
I think so as well. Looking at the cooldown times, the only person to make trade is a Morgana, but I fear Morgana will not be able to do anything, especially with such a very heavily fed Draven. 13 kills, 12 assists, 214 farm. 16,000 gold, 16,000 gold advantage over the enemy team. That's just not playing cricket.
No, this Draven really got online for Nightwing, and that is game 2, falling to the side of the Alpaca Appreciation Society. That makes the series 1-1, and now everything is on the line in the coming up game 3.
Yes, with game number 2 done and dusted, with both teams 1 win each. It is only going to be a matter of time before the final game will determine who is the ultimate victor in this. As we go to a break, we will be back soon, fellas.
After all that we've been through, think it's fair from me to you. Watch it burn as we soar away.
I smell fear.
After all is said and done, and I know I am the one. I have waited here forever.
Hey, after cooling down a little bit after that last game, that was a really exciting game, and we're now loading into the tiebreaker. This is all or nothing now. It is do or die, and Malzahar taken away from 8-bit, which is not really a shocker after that last game.
Their fear is wise.
I think we may not be transmitting to the stream, unfortunately. One of the persons in chat is asking where are the casters, so...
I am completely sorry, I forgot to unmute my microphone.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Game 3 between Alpaca Appreciation Society and Salty Ninjas. Unfortunately, we had a bit of technical issues. We were muted when we weren't intended to be, but... So we'll quickly catch up to where we are. Zach. Okay, so Twisted Fate is Vayne once again. We've covered this the last 2 games. Zach, that's what I'm hyped for right now.
Zach. Oh, this is going to be a very good matchup. That is going to be a very good double engage from both Shen and Zach at this point. I think they're going for a bit of a tanky pickup.
Definitely, and Zach brings a lot of everything. He brings so much engage that it's just a pain in the ass to deal with. I mean, he can engage from so far away and from positions you don't expect him to be able to engage from, that you're not prepared for him. But talking about engaging from sides you're not ready for, Rek'Sai and then Alistair locked up in as well. Whoa, we got rapid fire picks coming in here. So we got Rek'Sai for the jungle, and I'm sure that's Nalisa support coming in.
A NASA support? Pardon? An Alistair support, did you say? Oh,
Yeah,
this
sorry.
could be another placeholding pick. That blind, unless Soulbinding plans to play Twisted Fate within this matchup, it could be interesting.
I somehow very much doubt that, given what we've seen. But 8-bit has picked up Orianna now. Personally, I love Orianna as a champion. I mean, she can sort of do everything in this scenario against anyone, I think at least. So I'm hyped to see what we're seeing out of this Orianna and Pantheon ban. I'll be really surprised.
The only thing I find a little bit, well, I think a lot of people should be aware of with Orianna is that she is a little bit mechanical. She does require a little bit of mechanical skill. She is hard to, sort of completely adjust to, seeing as her abilities rely around the positioning of her floating ball.
All right, so Lux taken away. Now, I actually quite like this idea of a Lux takeaway because Soulbinding has played Lux the last 2 games straight, I believe. Lux. And sorry, I've got to go through the 300 pages.
Yeah, you're correct. Soulbinding has been
Lux
playing
and
Lux the
Lux,
last 2 games in a row so far, and we are going to see a second game as Alistair support, I presume, at this point. Coming over to... Nightwing is going to pick the Draven again.
Oh, come on, do it, Nightwing, please. Please, I'm begging you. No, come on, give me the Draven again. Damn it!
He's going to go with the new Varus, and that new skin is looking very interesting for Varus. Ever since his lore update, that new skin is actually starting to suit him quite well.
Definitely. I mean, Varus, he's a bit of everything. He's not as strong as I'd say a traditional AD carry because of the way his Q works. That TF. Okay, so I'm expecting Pantheon top again with Vayne AD carry. Okay, surely God, that's a placeholder as well.
I assume that is also a placeholding pick as well, seeing as that is a similar matchup to the first game. Actually, we apologize for this placeholding pick, folks.
As we've explained in the previous games, as to the why, it's simply that people don't have access to those. Oh no, you're correct. Thank you, Mini Artillery in the chat. Pantheon is banned, so whoever the Heimerdinger lock-in cover for, it's not Heimerdinger. You are quite right. I do apologize about that. I got way too excited about the possible picks. I do apologize.
That is completely right. We will head over to the loading screen as we wait to see this fix-up happen. This is it's quite a little bit annoying. We do apologize for this, viewers. We were not prepared for 3 games in a row with 3 placeholding picks. I only hope that this time round, usually it has been working so far. Usually the second time round we get it right immediately, and then we can go straight into the game and sort of minimize the time that you would just be sitting there watching the screen of people just picking champions and then just goofing around essentially.
Yeah, but I know the stream can't see it, but we can see who the 2 substitute picks were for, and both of them, I am, as a main of one of these 2 champions, it makes me so pleased to see the dog back on the Rift. So we have Nasus for the top lane and Zoe as the substitute. So Nasus and Zoe, I'm really excited to see what we're going to get going on.
I am too, actually, seeing the Nasus and Zoe plans to be picked this time round. I'm curious. Zoe hasn't really been played much in this series at the moment. She's really powerful, but she's also just as highly mechanically skilled. And as I believe I read the chat somewhere before, actually, yeah, by Mini Artillery, saying that Orianna has more late game power than TF in team fights. He is completely correct. You are definitely on the ball right there. Orianna has team capabilities, especially with her ball and her ultimate. You land yourself in the correct position as the ball holder, you're going to make some plays. You're going to have a very happy Orianna on your team. Better yet, you're going to have a happy team.
Yeah, I mean, you think about team fight mid lane. I think Orianna is the first person that comes to my mind. I mean, many a team fights have been dictated by that shockwave alone, let alone command dissidence and command attack. So, yeah. So we're just seeing. We're gonna have to go through this, unfortunately, viewers. It does. I don't know if we're actually viewing the.
Yes, sir.
No, we are not. I'm sorry. I have to transition us over. I apologize, folks.
We're just seeing a bunch of bans coming through. Now I'm confused.
Speak us through the bans, Ethos. What do we have so far?
I'm looking at the Singed because that wasn't what we were told. We were told Nasus and Zoe in the lobby chat, so I'm very confused to see the Singed. Yeah, so we'll have another re-lobby because one of the declared champions was not what was picked. So let's find out what's going on here.
As we sort out this technical difficulty, just bear with us, folks. I'll take us back to the loading screen as we prepare for this final fix-up.
So what we might do while we're trying to sort all this out, well, we might as well just take a little bit of a break while we try and sort out what's going on in this lobby, because this is a bit of a cluster, unfortunately.
Yes, you're completely correct on that. We will be right back within a moment, folks. Don't go anywhere.
Understood.
Around the earth and around the sun, say the word and we can say the word.
Ah. I shall endure.
I want to turn.
Like a broken soul in a wonderland without angels. That is how I feel when the mirror shows me a stranger. Yeah. And I know they're just fragments of a world where your absence all I get to see. Take me back to the planet where
For those of you watching at home, we are just getting the picks and bans quickly sorted. When we come back, when I bring us back, we'll be loading into the game on Summoner's Rift and getting ready with game number 3 of Salty Ninjas versus the Alpaca Appreciation Society. Don't go anywhere.
Yeah, I'm incomplete. Hey, 'cause I'm incomplete. I need you here tonight to cover up this empty sheets. 'Cause I'm incomplete. Yeah, I'm incomplete. The crack of dawn, I imagine you waiting by my doorstep. But it won't be long before I realize it's a picture in my head, in my head. And I know they're just fragments of a world where your absence all I get to see. Take me back to the planet where you and I are still meant to be. 'Cause I'm incomplete when you ain't by my side, when you don't wake up next to me. Yeah, I'm incomplete. I need you here tonight to cover up these empty sheets. 'Cause I'm incomplete. Cause I'm incomplete. I need you here tonight to cover up this empty sheets. 'Cause I'm incomplete. ice snow. When it falls in the wind, you know. And you, oh, you say you wanna dance. You're wary, you know, you'll end up in the wrong hands. And you're having fun. Why don't you show your friends? And you're having fun. What if it never ends? I'm lacking sincerity, but you don't.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Game 3 of the Alpaca Appreciation Society versus Salty Ninjas. I am joined with Etos. Etos, would you like to tell our viewers what we have in the lineup here for game number 3?
Alright, so we are loading into game 3 as we said, so we are, so I was just checking to make sure the stream, we weren't muted ourselves once again, so we unfortunately that did take a while, we had a few issues, so you can see we've got Nasus with Spellbook top and Zoe mid, so those were the placeholders along with TF of aim, we knew that one, so it's the Nasus and the Zoe, and as a Nasus player, I'm really happy to see Nasus being picked up, and realistically, it's a very good matchup for him. I mean, Zac and Shen aren't really the biggest threats in the world when you look at top lane counters.
No, that is definitely true, and with Narcissus being a late game based champion where he only switches on line, he only gets the, the light only turns green when he hits like, maybe 15 to 20 minutes after accumulating some farm. It's going to be interesting how, I believe it is the Alpaca's back on the left hand side this time, isn't it?
Yes. Alpaca's
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the Salty Ninjas are going to behave this time around. With the Narcissus in the top lane, I feel like they should be able to make some early game plays. They would try and capitalize on the early game advantage to try and, get that lead and prevent Narcissus from being able to, build himself up and start to switch online.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. They need to do something. You cannot let a Nasus free farm and free stack. And against a Shen, realistically, that's what's going to happen. And pause. Sorry, we're resyncing ourselves as the loading screen is still up for the viewers. So we will swap that over as soon as we can. On the side of, there we go. Is that the transition coming in? There we go. So it is now definitely up. We are at 20 seconds and ready on your mark.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right, lovely. So, unless something happens in the game, I kind of want to talk about Nasus then, but I feel like that's going to be happening a lot right now because I am a filthy Nasus player. So, in this scenario, you can't let Nasus free farm. They have to punish him early. So, I'm expecting to see if I think at least Calbert should be top quite a lot, or else Courtney was simply going to get those stacks.
Yes, and as we get looking at this, we already have a small pause. Let's go over to the technical. Let's go to the technical side and see what's happening here.
So it appears we're having. Oh, there we go. Games on pause. So there was some connection issues early on into the game, but we are now going live. Oh my god! Please don't do this. Tricked us. So we're not entirely sure if Kangaroo Man's getting a food break. I'm going to be very upset because I would kill for some food right now.
I think we all would kill for some food right now. I'll definitely tell you that. I'm getting a little bit hungry myself.
I want to eat. Fight already, so I can get too personal with this. But yeah, this is all right. Well, while we're stuck on this pause, I do want to ask you the Zoe versus Orianna lane. Do you think Orianna's gonna be able to simply keep the wave cleared and keep themselves, safe from Zoe? See, we've got people in the chat who are hungry. Poor Bowie Fromage wants some food as well.
I think we can all join that club, mate. We can join the I'm very hungry club right now. I've never seen an Orianna versus Zoe matchup. It's gonna be interesting, only because I don't really have a great deal of knowledge on Zoe besides the fact that she can pretty much 100 to 0 you very quickly, especially if she lands her sleep on you. That sleep is pretty much vital to her kit, that if she doesn't get that off and she doesn't get the maximum range out of her Q, you're going to be she will be handled very easily. If she doesn't make maximum range on that, she is going to have a problem.
Definitely, and it's along with the E bonus damage as well. I believe the Sleepy Trouble Bubble gives an amplification of damage on the ability hit. So basically, as long as 8-Bit can avoid it, and 8-Bit is running cleanse in this lane as well, so obviously he's aware of that present danger.
And he is prepared for the counter action when that moment arises. If that moment arises, for all we know, 8-Bit God could be as good as he was last game with Malzahar and make the plays, make the efficiency, make the escapes, do everything he can to stay alive and avoid being taken out.
Yeah, definitely. If 8-Bit can do what he did last game, then the salty
ninjas will be very salty.
Yes. Wait, no, it means I've gotten this written the wrong way down. I apologize. So the salty ninjas are on the blue side. We've covered this before. So I completely just got my notes written up. So yeah. So the Alpacas really want 8-Bit to do really well this game, and the Paddle Star does connect and not a lot of damage. I got way too hyped for that.
That is fine. We need that hype in this game. We need the hype. We need the extra. Otherwise, people would just spectate each other's games, and that wouldn't be fun.
We see Cold Noob gets the first stack of the game, I believe, and this is Nasus. The first 10 minutes of the game, you're at your weakest point. You can get bullied, but Nasus is running the spell book, and I think he's well aware of the fact that he simply needs to sustain himself in lane. So he's running that heal and simply says, if you want to try and kill me, I've got myself a protective summoner. We come to the later stages, I can pick up Exhaust, I can pick up, Teleport. So, yes, Kangaroo, you're going to beat me up early, but come late game, you will fear the cane.
Yes, he will fear the cane. And speaking of being able to sustain himself, we see him with a is that a sapphire crystal I see in his kit? Yeah, it looks like he's trying to get the extra 10 or possibly 7 to 10 extra procs on his siphoning strike if he only expends that mana on his siphoning strike, which, well, let's all face it, it is probably the most recommended thing to do as a Narcissist, top laner.
Definitely, but they're well aware Nasus may be in trouble. He uses that Wither, and Kangaroo is forced to flash. That Wither gets worse as time progresses, and Kangaroo was taking no risk, no chances there.
No, but it was a very good attempt at an engage, or should I say a gank from Iroar. Iroar managed to burn the flash, so that puts Shannon in a bit more of a difficult spot.
Definitely, and it gives Nasus more freedom to work around the lane. So as long as he doesn't die early on, he's going to use this. He's going to use the early Sapphire Crystal to go straight into a Sheen, which gives him that 10% CDR as well as the additional hit. And when Nasus gets a Sheen, that's when you can really start power farming it up.
Yeah, the couple of times I have played Narcissus, and a few of you that are watching from home as well would also agree that the minute you get Shen is the minute you can start, coming online. You go from the 0 to 10% accumulation to 20 to 50 within 5 minutes of having a Sheen.
Definitely, it is. But Nasus, it's a really good moment. And then when you get the Trinity Force after that, that's when you really want to start picking fights, especially against the Shen. Just because the Triforce gives you so much to work with as a Nasus.
Looking over towards the bot lane at the moment, we see an even trade. At the moment, Elamir is trying to push the minions past that. It looks like he's trying to push the minions past that priority line to be able to have complete control over the lane. If we paint an imaginary line just past the top bush, that is pretty much the line of priority where they have complete control over the lane. All they need to do is ward in order to have complete vision and complete safety of the lane. They could still get ganked from behind, but as we can see, the Zac over in the top part of the jungle is completely the opposite side of everything, which means that right now they are pretty much, they don't have a paddle. They're upstream and they're without a paddle.
Definitely, they are in a bit of a bad place. We saw a little bit of trade in the mid lane, and Zoe is struggling to contest with the wave clear of the Orianna, which isn't a huge surprise. They gets hit by the Sleepy Trouble. I have an Iroars here. Safe Squad flashes out very early and burns the cleanse. Did not want to take any chance, but Soul Bunny being very confident and is forced to burn not only the picked up flash, but the heal as well. I mean, that was a bit cocky there, and we appear to have a disconnection, but no pause. Oh, there we go.
Uh-oh.
So, Alistair appears to be having some connection issues, but we did see in bot lane, Alistair was just standing there, and you got to give some credit to the Alpaca. They didn't hit Alistair when perhaps they could have. So you got to give a little bit of love coming in there in the bot lane.
That is definitely. You are completely correct there. And looking at how things are behaving at the moment, over towards the bot lane, if I can move us all the way down there. No, I cannot, unfortunately. The unfortunate of only spectating a match, and when it pauses, you cannot move yourself anywhere. You're pretty much like stuck in that same position. Looking at this situation right here, what would you assume would happen? Being a Narcissus main, what would you assume would happen in this point? Would you continue farming? Or seeing as you have a lot of farm, would you try and make a small pick?
You farm. Nasus, the thing that a lot of players, and I've seen so many Nasus do this mistake, the key with Nasus is the correct allocation of stacks versus items. So in the early game, stacks are your biggest, like, I'd say items are your biggest priority. You want to get your Sheen, or if you can, get your Triforce. Once you've got that core item, you are strong enough, assuming you've been stacking throughout it, to be able to do, then you can start pushing in the lane. You can use your Cane to get the stacks while using your E to zone off and push. So get the Sheen, then worry about, can I outtrade him, can I win? Test the waters a little bit. Throw a couple Qs onto the enemy champion. Throw a Wither, see if you can outtrade him. If it's very clear that, you're not getting anywhere, go back to minions. But if you're starting to take him down quite a bit and he's refusing, and your opponent refuses to acknowledge the fact that you're focusing him rather than the minions, commit to the kill. But in this scenario, Nasus has no obligation to focus on Shen. He's up in CS, and come late game, Nasus is very hard to deal with. So all I think Cold Noob needs to do here is get his Sheen, get his Triforce, and get them sweet stacks.
And there we have it, a little bit more insight towards Narcissus. Shen is going to be, it's going to be interesting to see how Shen's going to play out this match. Like, going up against the Narcissus, who was already beating him in farm, it was also accumulating his stacks quite healthily. Or should I say, he's getting very healthy with his stacks. He's starting to get into the dangerous digits. He's going to start switching in line, so I want to see how this Shen's going to play out, how Kangaroo is going to try and handle this doggy at the moment. And with the Alistair reconnecting, we are about to go back to the live game, folks. We apologize for this small pause, but unfortunately we do not have internet like America, so we just have to make do with for now.
And we are indeed a online service. We are not doing LAN, unfortunately, so we have to make do with what we can, but I want to take a quick look at the Nasus. I'm quickly going to move. So he only has 36 stacks right now, 66 now. And honestly, that's pretty good, because assuming it's only 5 minutes in, if he can sustain this sort of trend and then amplify it when he gets his correct itemizations, he's in such a good spot.
And with that trade by Shen, dashing in like that, as well as putting his slow down, Narcissus has actually timed himself well enough to try and catch him on the end, sort of to the end of the duration of his abilities, to try and catch him out and put him in a spot where he's going to take maximum damage.
Alistair going in. Looks like he wants a polymorph. Is being burnt. Element running in with that vein once again. Early flash from Nightwing. Condemn onto the, there we go. The Lulu is in a lot of trouble and forced to flash away. Iroh doing what he can to Nightwing, but doesn't look like he wants to try and force it. Piercing Arrow is shot and does a lot of damage, but does not kill Iroh, who the Queen of the Xerxes simply backs away.
It was a very good trade, a very good engage, and a very good response time from both Heroes and Elamore. Seeing as Rek'Sai was making his way down bot lane, they were going to try and catch him ahead. Yeah,
definitely. It was the right attempt, and they did burn the flash from both champions, so that is a really good step up for them. As we see, top lane is just farming around, and honestly, the longer this farm game goes on, the better it is for Cold Noob on that Nasus. He is currently sitting on just under 2k gold, and the longer this goes on for, the happier Nasus is.
Yes, and a very heavily fed Narcissus is a very happy Narcissus, as well as a very happy team.
So I love the animation cancel of the Q. It always makes me laugh. I do apologize. I'm probably focusing a little too much on Nasus, but as Shen, Kangaroo is doing a really good job of trying his best in a one-on-one to keep Cold down, but with the way positioned where it is, Cold is in a really good position as 8-bit is taking reception of a gank once again.
Rek'Sai is trying to make himself completely present in the bot lane and pushing that Zoe ahead. The minute Zoe gets ahead, it can be lights out with just a single sleepy time. Single sleepy time means the end of the game.
Oh, and talking about sleepy time, Oriana, is it bedtime? It very much looks like it. One more auto shockwave coming in, and Dissidence is not enough to secure the kill, and heal was available for Soul Bunny.
That was a very good attempt by Soul Bunny, being able to catch her out in the back line, just poking from the side near the bottom river, and then maximizing her Q. As I predicted, as I mentioned before, maximizing the travel range of that Q just maximizes the damage potential on it. And it worked well in her favor. It was 8-bit was lucky enough to survive that. I will have to say that. That's all I can really say at this point. 8-bit did well to survive that in the early game phase.
Yeah, 8-bit got taken so low, but that's, if that's what's happening to 8-bit, just from Zoe, without Zoe actually having some real damage items. Imagine what it's going to be like when she picks up, I'm assuming, a Lich Bane and some form of high damage item. So this Zoe is really good at getting these picks off, and I'm certain that's what they're going to be working around as we continue this laning phase.
Yes, and reaching the 9-minute mark, so he's looking at a nice healthy farm of 60 compared to 53. As well, she has a bit more of a sustainable time in the mid lane, being able to poke against Oriana and actually be rewarded for it.
As we see, the Nasus swapping heal to teleport and coming up to something, and picked up the Kindle Gem, I believe that's called. Yeah, the Kindle Gem, as well as the Sheen, which is an additional 20% CDR, which means basically Nasus is like, yeah, we can fight like this, but you can see, actually, we can fight because Fury of the Sands is up, and Kangaroo Man flashing away. Is the +6 stack going to happen? There we go, +6 stack, first blood to the Nasus.
That flash was really well timed, and it was used in the perfect moment right there. Having that spell book reduces the cooldown of his summoner spells and makes it easier for him to pretty much, make perfect use of them. He gets more flashes out in a single game. He gets, he can get around he gets around the map quite well. This is working out to be a very favourable game for Cold at the moment. And Iroar is responding very well to all 3 lanes. I've seen him gank every single lane at least once so far. And if you can get through all lanes and still have a clean farm as a jungler, you are doing well. I will have to admit, you are doing really well for yourself. Sometimes people farm.
Sorry, keep interrupting you, I apologise.
That is perfectly fine. Like it can be hard to transition from me to you when right now the teams are sort of even based.
Yeah, but talking about Iroar, what I really wanted to talk about him is that Iroar's been doing this all game as we see it. Oh, that's a wonderful combo coming in, and Soul Bunny is gonna fall. Lovely use of the ultimate. Iroar trying to come in for a little bit of vengeance and is actually able to pick up the Bit God right there. The Let's Bounce into the command Shockwave was a really beautiful thing to behold.
A combination like that is exactly what Oriana is for. That is what makes Oriana a very good team player. As Artillery mentioned in the chat, she is very powerful in teamfights late game, and that is exactly why she is powerful as a team fighter.
Oh, I love how cheeky that Iroar was with that stopwatch there. Simply like, oh, you're gonna dive me? Nope. And uses that stopwatch to dodge his way out. But what I did want to try to say is Iroar has been really active throughout this entire series. He's been every gank. Every gank has been really aggressive. He's been very active on the map, and realistically, I feel like he's, part of the key thing keeping the Salty Ninjas, in this series is just how active he is with his ganks.
A very active jungler is a very good jungler. Like, they can be everywhere at once. They can help their team within a minute's notice if they have to. Usually it is good to have your farms cleared when you're within that area as well. Keep yourself within an availability or readily moment to be able to attend to a lane if you need to, whether it is to defend or to take a kill. If the opportunity arises, you need to make sure you're ready for it. You need to help your lanes get fed. If only you get fed, your teams can suffer for it. All your lanes will suffer eventually because the enemy jungler could get ahead of you. Whether it's kills, assists, farms, objectives, whichever it may be, you need to help your lanes. If you just farm, you may as well just AFK, because you're not making almost any effort towards your team besides preventing the enemy jungler from taking extra farm on your side of the jungle.
Yeah, I completely agree on that, and Iroar is definitely doing his job. But talking about junglers, they do not like this Nasus. They're trying to do work on him, but the issue is you've got 2 tanks against a full health Nasus. You're not even gonna, even if that elastic slingshot did connect, you're not gonna risk a dive.
No, that is you are you are correct. It can be a very risky dive, but as Narcissus, he might be able to get away with it if Shen takes enough damage while Narcissus's passive is active, right? He splits himself into 4. As long as one of those slimes make it back to the center, he will survive. It may come at a cost, but that's the risk you are willing to take when you turret dive someone. You have to make sure the calculations are almost flawless. One misstep and you've pretty much given the enemy player a kill at least.
Yeah, completely on that one. And seeing the laning phase continue, and Iroh wants blood, but no such blood. The Sleepy Trouble bubble was thrown out a little too late, and nothing is going to come of that.
No, but at least it created a nice little pretty picture for for Orianna to look at while continuing to sit under that turret.
Indeed, it did. So, a look down the itemizations wise. Cold Noob is sitting on a Stinger and a Sheen, so going forward that Triforce first, while Kangaroo, like last game, he's picked up the buildings of his Sunfire Cape, and Cold Noob just really wants to... Actually, whoa, we're seeing Unbreakable Will being popped from bot lane, the stun coming in, but Elmir is nowhere nearby. Ghost of Heroes, he smelt blood in the water, it may have just been a smoothie.
It probably would have just been a smoothie at this point. Just engaging with your ADC that far away, it's almost like you're just pretty much just having a tickle. You're just having fun. You're either trying the objective coming into a
but
team
that
fight.
Doesn't look like fun. Elmir going in 1-2, and Calibar's in a lot of trouble. Staying United, not able to continue as Zac splits into 4. There is no teleport to save him, and he is going to go down. Shockwave coming in, landing on 2, but it is not enough. Redemption coming down and keep people healed up. The Sleepy Trouble, the Flash, the Cleanse. No, it was mistimed. He wasn't able to get out of the sleep.
No, and with Zoe's Q on the way, she pretty much managed to just completely deliver her combo and dish out as much damage as possible. And this time, it paid off. It took the kill. Orianna is going to be put to sleep for good for at least another 15 seconds before she can actually make herself back to the lane. That is going to push Zoe ahead even further at this point.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a Sleeping Beauty parallel we can read. As Fury of the Stands called Noob, he has his items and he says, Kangaroo, you can't stop the dog. Woof! There we go, another +6.
Well done, Narcissus. This Narcissus is showing how effective a Narcissus can be when put into the right hands of a player. Or should I say, into the hands of the right player. My English is not very good, folks. Looking over towards the mid lane, as I mentioned earlier, with Zoe managing to take out Orianna, she managed to get that 300 gold accumulation as well as free lane farm.
Zac popping in to say hello, but... Sorry, I just got excited by the Zac just bumping in like that.
It was a very interesting jump in. I'm sure I can only assume that his attempt, the reason for him jumping in, is to prevent it from continuing to, potentially take the first turret bonus at this point in the game, because all turrets are still up, no turrets are gone. But we could see in the mid lane over in the minimap, that turret is about to fall over like a ton of bricks.
And definitely, and Nasus is currently sitting at 339 stats pre 20 minutes out. That is very, very good for Nasus. And he hasn't even completed his Trinity Force yet. He's sitting on, I think, 20 or 30% CDR. And honestly, that is so good on the side of Cold Noob here. And the Salty Ninjas, if they want to set up a 1-4 split push composition, similar to what they did in the previous game, Nasus is more than capable of going 1 versus 2, even 1 versus 3 once he starts getting online. Caliber trying to prove my point right now, uses that less bounce into the taunt, but it's not a lot of damage. Now Iroh is here, this is a full-on 2v2, but there is so much damage coming onto Caliber, he's got to get out of there. Now Kangaroo trying to take it away again. Elastic Slingshot, Caliber has jumped himself in there to death. The Cane comes down once again, and that was very ambitious. 2 tanks versus a tank and a damage threat. That's not going to work out for you. Meanwhile, we're seeing in the bot lane, Melamus L taken quite low, and Sunny nearly soloed up by the Orianna. Wild Grove coming in, and Sunny with the skin. No, it is taken out. Does fall indeed. I believe to the Ares damage coming in. So kills left, right, and center. But first turret to Nasus.
A very good play from both sides.
Whoa, Elmir wants blood and gets completely caught up. I think he was a bit over ambitious. There was some miscoordination there. Elmir goes in, catches the Change of the Corruption to the face, and gets utterly destroyed.
A very good play from both sides, I must repeat. Just top lane had a very good team action, mid lane had team action. It was a win for the Salty Ninjas on the left, and then the Alpacas on the right, and then in the bot lane, it was an even trade, but the Alpacas managed to get the ultimate victory with Eleanor being caught out.
Nasus in the back line. Nasus has used his teleport, and Miliot is in a lot of trouble. One, oh, that's so much damage. And the additional cooldown in the queue, that's 2. No, it's not enough. The Shen keeps it alive. Cold Noob is now going to fall down. Lulu getting vengeance. How dare you try and kill me? Goes to the heroes, just trying to run away. And even with that unbreakable will, Caliber is going to say, your will may be unbreakable, but your body is not.
A very good play of words right there. Very good play of words. Your will may be unbreakable, but your body is not.
I panicked. I don't know. I was just like, say something funny. Go. That was the first thing I came up with.
Thumbs up to you, good sir. Thumbs up. Backing over to the mid lane, we see a very clean trade. Zoe managed to get the late aggression. Just that Q right there. Maximum range coming in with that sleep.
Uh-oh. Oh, even with the cleanse, just... You can't afford to be hit by the sleep the trouble bubble, because if you do, you die.
Yeah, especially, yes, and looking over at her summoner spells, her flash was still on cooldown. If her flash was not on cooldown, that would have been a very good escaping combo right there. The cleanse to get yourself out of the sleep. You will still have the debuff to take extra damage from her. But if you can just flash over to the side and dodge that Q, you will be fine. Unfortunately, in this case, she could not.
Oh, hello. Soul Bunny uses that exhaust quite early on, but the Let's Bounce is not connecting. Calbo is really low. I don't know why he's being so aggressive.
And then comes in the Zoe with the slight little laugh for the taunt.
Slight little bit of BM and a lot of damage coming in. Kangaroo Man is knocked up and taken down. And I'm going to say the word miscoordination here because Calbo went in and he looked like he had support. He used Let's Bounce aggressively and then didn't have anything. I'm very confused by what I just witnessed, so what to see, and 8-Bit needs to be a little bit careful. He's surrounded on two sides. This turret is eventually going to fall, and right now the Alpaca Appreciation Society is in a right bit of trouble.
Yes, especially looking over at the gold accumulation between two teams. As we can see, Salty Ninjas are almost 6,000 gold ahead, which is pretty much like, you know, almost an entire item for each player on the team. That would be at least be something like a, at least a full set of boots, or maybe a Zeal between each person.
Yeah, definitely, and Talbot is in a lot of trouble, jumps himself away, and Wild Growth is coming out. Nightwing using change of direction, he's on the front line and getting completely caught. Kangaroo Man in the back line doing what he can, doing his damnedest, but the Iroar and Heroes doing what they can on the front line. They're getting delayed so much, and finally Iroar falls down. He's got no tank stats to his name, and Goes to the Heroes is in quite a bit of trouble. A hail of arrows throws him down, and the elastic slingshot throws Caliber away. It actually throws him towards the Zoe. The Slinky Jumper Bubble coming out and the Paddle Star coming in. It does a quite chunk of damage, but not enough. You can't use those portals to hop out. Tries to anyway, and falls to a hail of arrows.
And with that almost complete ace, that pretty much allows them to pretty much make a play. And in this case, they are capitalizing on that ace or potential ace and taking the bot lane. Sorry, taking the mid tier 1 turret. Looking over towards top lane though, we seem to have a teleport coming out from Shen, being able to try and continue the trade against the Narcissus. Narcissus
Kangaroo,
is able to make a push.
I mean, Kodim could literally just dive Kangaroo probably right now, but there's no need to. He's been saying this whole time split push, and one more Q is going to be. He's at 474 stacks, and now Kangaroo, you've signed your death sentence. There is no thresh in this game, but Nastis will be your executioner. Uses that Fury of the Sands. Calber is doing a lot of damage. Let's Bounce is cute, but it's not going to stop him. The dog is not here to play. He has flash available. That's a lazy back Kangaroo. You get punished, and the dog walks out, gets himself some more juicy stacks on the way, and that is Nastis in a nutshell. Oh, actually, it's not even over yet. Cold Noob wants a party. The Q coming in. The elastic slingshot gets him out of there, but there is going to be no dive, but Nastis is online.
We are now about to see some serious plays happening from Narcissus. I hope to see some serious plays from Narcissus at this point. But with that, even though Alpaca's managed to get an ace on the enemy team, towards team Salty Ninjas, they managed to take the the mid turret, tier 1. But in token, Narcissus managed to take the tier 2 turret. And as well, they're about to take the tier 2 mid turret. And, continue the aggression.
Shockwave being burned by 8-Bit, trying to catch Zoe on the return of the portal, but mistimes it, I feel. And that is a massive cooldown down. I mean, part of why you pick Orianna is that devastating Shockwave, but with that unavailable, I don't think they can afford to contest this dragon, because if they get caught in a bad team fight with Nasus so close by, it's going to be very painful.
Yes, and with a very healthy dog like Narcissus, it's going to be a very interesting dogfight happening between both teams at the moment.
Being caught, Caliber's been caught and deleted. Goodbye, Zach. You're going to split into 4 parts, but that is delaying the inevitable. Surely to God. 1, 2, 3, and goodbye. And that kill donated over to the Vayne. Nightwing doing what he can, uses the Chain of Corruption, but the turret isn't targeting. There we go. Chain of Corruption. There we go. Fury of the Stands. Coldwing, I think you overestimate yourself. You are a fed dog, but Nightwing gives him a bone and tells him to sit down.
That is a very good analogy you just came up with.
Really
right there. That was really good. That was really good. On the spot, that was really good. And what's also really good right now is the restoration of the defense line for Alpacas. As we can see, top lane is about to push and try and take that turret. Mid lane is being refreshed. Bottom is going to be refreshed by Shen. All 3 have been reset to the midpoint at least. The center of all 3 lanes have been reset for the Alpacas. Now they can start doing things. All over the map, if we look towards the minimap, I want to direct your attention to the minimap, folks. There is a lot of ward coverage happening by the Alpacas. That is a lot of healthy warding, especially for a team with an entire line of tier 1 turrets down. Almost tier 2. But they just managing to hold a good defense line and push out a little bit further to create some, comfortable room to roam and collect, the jungle farm. Collect some gold that they are being denied, when they've, up until just recently.
Yeah, definitely. You sort of need that aggression. You can't be... I see a lot of teams... Whoa, that was the sleepy trouble bubble. That wasn't even the paddle star. Damn, that hurts. But what I was going to say, what you were saying was... You're quite right. When you are down like this, you have 2 options. You can either keep backpedaling, or you can be like, you know what? Let's try be a bit aggressive. If they back away, then great. But we're seeing quite a little bit of fight going on over the Grump. Kalmir taken low once again, and once again that Wild Growth being used. Shockwave being hit on 2 members. That was lovely. Element doing what he can in the backline. Ghost of Heroes is tanking up his damage, but while all this is happening, the big dog is headed up top lane. He wants to take a chomp out of that turret, and Nightwing is going to have to go deal with him, because right now I don't know who can, and Soul Bunny trying to be a little bit cheeky.
I think right now with Narcissus being very cold towards the top lane, we also see Soul Bunny starting to come online as well, but with the Zoe this time.
Oh, that is so clever coming in from Coldnoob. He is going to fall down surely to God. There are 5 members here, and if Coldnoob can get out of this, he has traded his summons for Ghost Cleanse, and with the Whipper down, there we go, Flash Taunt coming in, the Elastic Slingshot knock-up, and there are only 3 members here, and they're all really tanked. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it. Nimbus is taken out solo, forced to flash away. Finally does go down, but Coldnoob caught so much attention up top lane.
He had quite a lot of attention and quite a lot of damage he soaked in. He is a very, very thick sponge that can absorb much more water. If there were more people nearby, I fear as though if they come into a complete team fight, Salty Ninjas will probably come out on top. Just seeing how powerful Narcissus has become, he is completely online. Zoe is starting to maximize her ability to, completely extend out her Q. Her Q is being fully extended, and the damage just gets bigger the longer it travels.
And welcome to Zoe. I believe that's the best way we can word that. But you are quite right. Sorry, I tried to speak and I nearly like, yeah. Anyway, so we're seeing a rotation down bottom side now, but I think they're trying to get this last outer tier. No, one of the bottom outer tier turret now with 5 members trying to get some global pressure back in.
Yes, with the tier 1 turret still active, there seems to be a lot of action happening in towards the south jungle.
Iroh, you're in a bit of a bad spot. Manages to get away from the hail of arrows, and he has got his Guardian Angel. Whoa, that's a very early stand. Shockwave does not connect. A lovely throwaway by Ghost of Heroes. He will pay for his life. Does burn his flash unnecessarily, but he pays it for his life. He gets rid of that Shockwave cooldown. The dog is top lane on the inhibitor now, and realistically, there's not a whole lot that's going to stop them. Soul Bunny is going to stop the first initial back, and Nasus using that Fury of the Sands. I'll explain why he's doing that maybe in a little bit, but Calvin doing what he can. Noob taking out the turret. Oh, lovely CP trouble bubble. Calvin in a lot of trouble now. The Rek'Sai is here. Calvin flashing, but it's not going to be enough, and it takes him out. Meanwhile, Irma is dancing with the Kangaroo Man, and 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and takes him down.
That sounds like a musical number right there. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You're out.
It's so weird. But no, so I'll
Explain
so-
to us the theory behind why Narcissus decided to, you know, backdoor and
okay.
whatnot.
So the ultimate, so Nasus has gone for Cleanse Ghost, which I quite love as a spellbook play. But the reason why Nasus is ultimating to take the turret is because when Fury of the Sands is active, the ability of your siphoning strike, your Q, is halved. So if you've got 40% CDR or 45% CDR, I run a different build. I run a different Keystone Mastery to Cold. But if you get 40% CDR and then you use your ultimate, your Q is on approximately a 2.3 second cooldown. Now, I'm no mathematician, but I don't think I need to be a mathematician to tell you just how deadly a Nasus queuing you every 2.5 seconds really is. Oh, Shockwave does not connect. Element throws him into the wall and avoids the change of corruption. Flashes away. We've got some blue suede shoes tonight. Oh, Ghost of Heroes is not enough. Kangaroo is doing what he can, diving into the backline. Iroh waiting for his time to strike. He's found the Oriana and utterly deletes it with the help of nobody. But Wing doing what he can in the backline, but his support gets chomped down by the Queen of the side. Carlburn doing what he can with the Let's Bounce, but goes nowhere in a 1 versus 3 and is surely going to fall. There we go. He's split into 4, but 4 will not become 1 and he will fall to the vein once again. And while all this is happening, Nasus is bot lane just split pushing.
Yes, they're continuing their 4-1 split. Like in the first game when he played as Iridia top lane, they did a 4-1 split. And now in game number 3, they are doing the same strategy once more. And it is proving to be effective. They are completely on the aggression. Top lane is completely pushed with the super minions on the turret, on the Nexus turret. We've got mid lane fully pushed. Bot lane fully pushed with a healthy dog.
Once again, his Q is on a 2.2 second cooldown with that ultimate up, like I said, and he just utterly deletes Kangaroo Man. And I think this is surely going to be game. They are simply pushing them back. The Sleepy Shovel Bubble is available. The Shockwave is not. Nightwing taking solo, force the flash heal and Polymorph up away. But Oriana is taking quite low. One Nexus turret does fall. The second Nexus turret falling indeed. The Polymorph Cow gets a 3-man knocker, but that is game 2-3 in the favor of the Salty Ninjas.
That is game 2-1. It's a best of 3 series. We apologize for that, folks. A small.
No, I think that's game. That's it. It's best of first, isn't it? First. Oh, is it best of 3 or first of 3? No,
best of 3. Best of 3.
So that means it's game, right?
Yes, that is complete. Yes, that is game. That is completely
I'm tired,
game.
Man. It's 10 o'clock. I want food and I want sleep.
I think everybody wants that at this point. We've had a very, very good stream, a very good contribution from both Salty Ninjas and the Alpaca Appreciation Society. Both teams, thank you very much for participating tonight. Special congratulations to the Salty Ninjas for the ultimate win. Apart from that, over here at the streaming desk, Etos and I am about done. And thank you very much for watching, viewers. We hope for you all to come back and tune in soon with another couple of games from the University Rumble 2018. I am Lux.
I am Etos, and before we go, I hate to interrupt, but Mini Artillery does have a very good point. Thank you very much to everyone who tuned in for the stream. Mini Artillery, you get a special shout out because you've been here all day. So thank you very much for tuning in, guys, for this cast.
Yes, and we hope you all have a very, very good, interesting, safe night, and as well for those who are continuing their ranked placements, we wish you the best, and I hope you get really good positions that you are hoping for. Until next time, guys, Lux out, and
Etos, see you later.